Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Meet Kevin Show. We got another cup of coffee because that's pretty much what I do every day. It's not iced coffee, though, but we do have the connoisseur of iced coffees here. We got Mr. Graham Stephan in the house, and the title says we're confronting him today. So I'm going to have to ask you some hard questions, Graham. What's up, man?
What's up? What mug do you have? I got mine here. Almost finished.
Oh, so this is RuneScape, and so I have four options: drink, cup of coffee, use, drop, examine, or cancel. So I guess I have 5.
Oh my god, is that yours? Is that like a merch thing, or is
examine or cancel? No, you know, I did. This was, I think this was Etsy. Honestly, like anything RuneScape, I buy. Like if it says RuneScape, it's I gotta have it.
I love it. By the way,
but that's
I wanted to mention this.
What's that?
Look at the like ratio. That's a good like ratio. That's good.
That's the best I've ever had.
That's what I'm saying. So I really appreciate it. So for everyone watching, gotta like the video.
You know, it's what happens when you bring Mr. Smash the Like Button on. You should have merch. Smash the Like Button merch. You know what? You should have merch that just says smash here and an arrow, and it's, you know, kind of like double.
Just watch that just sell out.
I would buy that. I think that's hilarious.
How much could I charge for that free to buy it?
Jeez, man. Just, I don't know, try it out. If it sells a lot and you know, you could raise the price, let the market determine.
Just to show this is smash here with an arrow.
Yeah, and an arrow down, and there's like a small like button down. Yeah, man. You know, come on. So you know what? But anyway, yeah.
You're selling merch,
man. This is to the moon.
Are you selling a lot of that?
I mean, I don't know how to quantify a lot. It seems like in finance, you know, it's not like a Danny Duncan who makes his whole living off. And I don't want to minimize. The guy's awesome, but he makes his living off selling merchandise. He's in stores. It's freaking crazy, man. Like when it comes to merch, you gotta admire somebody like Danny Duncan, man.
Oh, I know. Nelk too. Nelk, I look at them in terms of they've got good merch and they're smart about it. When it comes to marketing, I really think all the big box retailers should be looking at Nelk. I am shocked that more companies don't go to Nelk and be like, hey, we got this product. We want you to push it to your audience. They're marketing services.
They are machines, man. They are so good. Merch is something that I'm buying RuneScape stuff, you know, it's a pretty small segment of the world, but it's just nostalgic for me, some of the stuff that I have.
Can you talk about how many you're selling though? Because I did merch for a while and I basically let it go because there was no profit margin in it. It was and I just kept getting messages from people like, hey, I ordered, the tracking didn't work. What do I do? And then I'm like sending emails back and forth for like,
oh yeah, no. You know, I don't even know. I do it all through the Teespring or whatever. That's how you get that little merch shelf down there. Honestly, I think the profit margin is horrible. I think it's like $2 a shirt or something like that, or maybe even less. And then it might be like $1.80 or something like that. So it's not really worth it. And then you could do like premium T-shirts versus the basic one. And I'm just like, it's supposed to be fun. Like, you know, let's keep the price as low as possible. For me, I think it's more of just like an engagement thing. Like, hey, here's something we can kind of all share. Like I went to the grocery store for the first time in like a year the other day. And this guy who's wearing his whole doctor outfit comes over and he's like, oh, you buy crypto? Because he sees like the to the moon. Like, it's like a conversation starter.
That's cool.
Yeah. So I gotta know, man. One of the questions that came up a lot because I put out a message like, "Hey, who's got questions for Graham?" And one that keeps coming up is you're very into the index funds and the ETFs. Do you think you'll ever change that?
I don't know. I do both. Let's make this clear. I did both. I put in initially. This is back in April. That's when I went heavy into stocks. I think you kind of beat me to it by a month.
That's all right. Yeah.
April, I started investing a lot of money in the stock market, and I did like 2/3 index funds, and I did 1/3 individual stocks. I mean, these were companies that I felt like they dropped a lot. These are like the Cheesecake factories, and I now have like 50 individual stocks. Like anything that got hit hard, I threw some money in it, and that 1/3 grew to gosh, it's probably got to be 2/3 of my portfolio now. It's just from
wow.
that initial little bit that I invested in. And some of those are up like, what is Tesla? I think was my biggest gainer. I think I'm up like 1,200% in Tesla.
Oh my gosh.
There were some just knockouts on that. Cheesecake Factory, I think, was like a 3x my money on the Cheesecake Factory. Boeing.
That's incredible.
Gosh, what did I buy Boeing at? That was under
it's under 100, right?
Way under 100. I feel like that used to be like $80 on Boeing.
That's incredible. Yeah. And have you been adding more to these? I mean, like, are you still looking at Cheesecake and Boeing? Like, I gotta buy more.
Yeah. So Boeing was literally basically about $100, a little bit under. Yeah, slightly over 100. Yes and no, a little bit. If I see it dip, so I bought more Apple recently when it dipped down to 118. I try not to. I try to look at the portfolio and think like, is it smart for me to buy more? Am I over positioned in these stocks? There are very few of them that I bought more. Enphase was one that I had been buying in under 150. So when it dropped in the 140 range, I bought it. When it dropped slightly below 140, I nabbed a little bit of it. But,
like 135 or something like that. Yeah,
it's a little higher than that, but not really my priority. I'm trying to be smart about it and just be like, just index fund it. It's simple. That's the thing.
Yeah.
It's just simple. Yeah.
Is it like the Kevin O'Leary? Like, how much of an influence did Kevin O'Leary have on you when he talked to you about, what was it? He had the thing, no more than X in one 5%. Stock and no more than a Y in industry or whatever, asset class, I think he says. Like, is he paranoid or is he right?
Can't argue with like his result. Like, I look at him and I'm like, this dude has no stress in the world. When it comes to money in his portfolio, I mean, the market could honestly tank 80%. And one of his investments would be booming to the moon to make up for that. So I'm like, I disagree with him on a few things. He said that when your investment goes beyond 5%, you got to cut it down and sell it off. And like, no, I like, if my 5% investment grows to 20, I'm keeping it at 20. I mean, I'm not gonna, do that. But I would say he did have an influence on me, but these were things that I was already leaning to anyway. It's one of those things where I knew I should be doing this, but when I heard it from him, I was like, all right, I got that confirmation. That's the right path. Let me do that. But I took it very seriously.
I get so jealous when I see him over in Miami at his Miami house, and he's always on those boats and the yachts and biking on the beach. And I'm like, man, I want that warm, hot weather, man.
Yeah.
How's Vegas?
Love it. I really like it. I really the only things I don't like about Vegas is everything is far away. And like it's weird because in LA you have traffic. So driving 20 minutes in Los Angeles is you like going like 4 miles, 3 miles. Driving 20 minutes in Las Vegas is like you're driving 30 miles. So it's weird in the Tesla to like have a full charge and I'm driving the same time. But it's one, I'm driving like 60 miles round trip, and the other, I'm like, going down the street. So everything is far, but there's no traffic. And so far, a bit of dry weather. So I've never had it before where like my skin dries. It's weird. I'm not used to that. But I mean, it's fine. I mean, that's literally the worst of it. I love it.
I mean, that's not bad if that's the worst you got. Yeah, some dry skin. And so, I mean, do you think you'll buy real estate out there? I know you've been talking to some people out there who own real estate or they've got businesses out there. I mean, like some Airbnbs. I mean, you got to be seeing something out there.
Is it worth the work at this point? And I would argue that probably at this point it's not. I'm really trying to simplify things as much as I can right now. And like I'm even looking through like to do my taxes. A few weeks ago, like I had to go through how many property, like I'm losing track, like 8 different properties, pulling out like insurance records and property tax statements and closing. It's like, that's a hassle. I mean, these are great problems to have, but like, even I got a notice from Bank of America. This is how bad it is. You know how your insurance company is always supposed to send the lender, the updated insurance. Yes. I forgot to pay the insurance and it lapsed for like 3 days. And they're charging me now like $25 for an insurance coverage that lapsed a few days. And then they want me to send them the new insurance policy. Otherwise, they're going to get their own and then charge me for it. Yeah, it's like, is that really worth it? So I chose, I'm not even going to like dispute. I'm just going to like pay the fee. But then it's like, I'm trying to simplify it. That's why I like right now index funds. I just want to, ideally, my whole day now, ideally would just be sitting down in front of a computer, reading what's going on the internet, planning out a good video, filming it, editing it the way I like, and not worrying about a single other thing. That ideally would be my perfect world.
No tenants calling you, no property manager, no CPA, nobody. Like maybe Jack sticks a camera in your face for your vlog, but that's it.
Yeah, like and speaking of tenants, I mean, I'll dig into this here. I got a tenant who was complaining. So I have a triplex, and there's one of the tenants in the front who tends to be messy, and they leave some stuff out on the lawn for too long. And I have another tenant in that complex who complains about the first tenant. So they text me, "Hey, could you let this first tenant know they're leaving trash out here and they shouldn't be out there like that?" And this is bad, but this is the stuff like I don't want to deal with this. Like they're so doing some work on the fence in the back, and they left this out in the front. But I'm the one who does this, and I'm like, I don't want to be texting them. Hey, this is what, we've got some complaints. I'm not doing that. It's too much. I'd rather be.
And then it's, what sucks is like, because you've been in the business, if you were to hire a property manager, it's almost like you would have to babysit them. I feel like it just wouldn't get done your way, and it's kind of like, or index fund. Is that kind of what you're feeling?
Kind of. I should be doing the property manager. It's hard. Mentally, it's an obstacle for me because I've had the same tenants in this complex for 5 years, 6 years. One of those tenants has been with me for like 10 years. No. So 2012. No, 2000.
And you're still not raising the rent.
No, 10 years. I've never raised the rent on them in a decade. Seriously, in a decade. I've not raised rent. Now, this is San Bernardino, so this is not rent controlled. So I'm not worried about like not raising the rent. If this were LA rent control, I'd have to raise the rent.
Yeah.
And then I discount them, appropriately for whatever. But no, it's not rent controlled, so I don't raise the rent. But I feel like why would I? It's stupid. Why would I give them 8% when they all pay on time? And it's once a month something might come up. That's all.
Sure. It's funny. I went through Lauren's like, "Oh, Kevin, you got to see this place or whatever" last week, right before Millennial Money. And I went through it, and I was just thinking like this image of actually you and your freaking house popped in my head because I go through this place and I'm like, come on, man. Lauren's going to make me gut this place, and it's going to be a 6-month renovation here. And it's not even an investment. It's just for me to live there, right? Which, I mean, it could be. Like, I could make it a wedge deal, but Lauren's not going to – Lauren's like, the next house, I want to have my way or whatever. And I'm like, no, that means spend more. And I'm like, I just want give me a new house that's done. I just don't want that extra stress for what exactly Lauren wants right now. Is that kind of how you felt with this place?
No, 100%. Buying a brand new construction. I never thought I would do that, but it's been so nice. It's just peaceful. It's weird because in the beginning, and I think I had explained this to you. In the beginning, I'd always think of how much I'm getting paid to do something. So let's say I go and wash my own car, and that's I'm saving $20 by doing that. And if it takes me an hour, I'm making $20 an hour by washing my own car. So I'd see everything like that, every little thing. Oh, I'm making food at home. I'm getting paid $15. Now it's almost, it's weird. It flipped because now I think, how much is this costing me to do it myself? Because I've never had it in my entire life where all of a sudden I don't have enough hours in the day. And I can't hold a candlestick to what you're doing, but there's not enough hours in the day anymore. And now you gotta you have to start saying no to things. I've never been in a position before. I'm like, I gotta say no to most of the things that come my way. And when I start to put a value on that, then I'm like, well, if I'm doing this other thing, what is that value? Can I outsource that? Is that the smart thing I've never been in a position like that before. It's unique, but
it is. It's so funny to say that. I had such a similar experience. I used to mow my own lawn. I don't have a big lawn, I have a small little lawn, but I used to mow it myself. And I would think to myself, I'm saving after-tax dollars. So if I had to pay a gardener $20, well, that's like me working for $40. So I'm basically getting paid $40 an hour to do something that takes me 15 minutes. Well, times 4, that's like making $160 an hour to do my grass. Now I'm like, no, I'll hire somebody to do it. Like I'm not getting a mower out right now. It has changed in that sense because yeah, you're right. It's just like the stress of YouTube is really overwhelming because it's just like you could always be doing this.
How do you do it? I know we talked about this, but I've yet to get a clear answer in a way that I understand. Because all of us behind the scenes, I'm talking to Andre, I'm talking to Jeremy, we're all clueless on how you do it. How? Let's start here. How many hours do you sleep a night?
Well, it depends how much I play Rust because one of the things that actually in a weird way motivates me to get my act together and get my stuff done is playing a video game. It's playing Rust. So I have this and Lauren plays with me. So it's great. It's like we double up. It's like, oh, I get to hang out with Lauren. I get to hang out with the Rust friends. So we get to play Rust. And what's great about it is like the whole day. So, well, not the whole day. It's not like I'm addicted and it's on my mind all the time. But there are moments in the day where I'm like, I'm a little tired. Like, I don't really want to do anything right now. Should I just sit around and, I don't know, flip through comments or whatever? Which, I try to read the comments. But, then I'm not making a video. And then I think to myself, well, I get to play Rust in 4 hours. We could get 2 videos done in that for sure. Let's go. It's just, then it becomes like a game of like, can I get my work done before Rust time? Because I got to go kill noobs.
Wow. Okay. But how many hours do you sleep?
Well, yesterday I only slept like 4 hours because we were raiding until like 4 a.m. Well, that's pretty stupid though. I get less productive if I do that. So usually if it's less than like 6.5 hours, it becomes a problem. On Saturday I slept, I think like 8.5 hours, but in a weird way, because I woke up at like 8:45 and I had a video, an interview. I don't know, whatever my 9 o'clock interview was yesterday. I woke up like 15 minutes before that, but I didn't actually feel more productive that day. Because like even though I slept longer, it just, I don't know, it felt less productive. It's weird. I don't know. I'm broken. That's it.
How do you find time for like your family and kids and Lauren and?
Yeah, we have to schedule stuff. Like for example, today I played a little bit with the kids at my dad. I moved my dad out here, so he's got a place. He's got a backyard. He built a playground set. And so Lauren and my dad and myself, we all got to hang out and kind of watch them destroy things and do, baby things and kid things. So that's fun. So it's really become one of those things where it's just like, hey, if I could get a really good quality, like couple hours, if even that, with the kids, certainly hope to average that up over the weeks. But that's good. But yeah, the rest right now it's just a grind.
So it's like a few hours a day. Let's say 2 to 3 hours a day.
One thing that I like is what I love about having them here is I'll post a video, and the best time to play with the kids is right after I post a video. So I'll post a video and then I'll go out there and I could wrestle Jack. Max gets his sword and we'll fight and we'll play for like 15 minutes and then, okay, guys, it's time for dad to go back to work. And they just respect it. They're like, okay, cool. Yeah, he's in there. And they don't bang on my door. They're cool about it. And then, an hour later I come out and mess with them again. It's that helps too. So I get like these micro doses. I'm micro dosing kids.
That's good. So, but other than that, it's every other hour seems to be spent making videos right now.
Or researching. Yeah, there's a lot of reading. Lauren gets really pissed off because I'll load up the kitchen full of newspapers, and people make fun of me. They're like, "Oh, I still read the newspaper." I freaking love it, man. Like I even got like, and I sit there with my scissor and I cut out sections. I don't know. I just it's sometimes like therapeutic to try to get away from the camera too, because if you're just staring at the camera all day or editing all day, you shut down. And that's one of the reasons I just kind of stopped editing. Like, I actually think I posted a video the other day where I had my intro twice. So kind of like if you had your intro twice, it'd be like, what's up, guys? It's Graham here, or whatever. And then, oh, what's up, guys? It's Graham here. And I just like literally had it in twice. I didn't catch it. But like nobody cared. People thought, oh, thanks for the double intro. People were thanking me for screwing up. And I'm like, all right.
I've left little bits and mistakes in videos on accident. I find them so embarrassing. People like them. They call them out in the comments. Like, ooh, did you see 848? That's a glitch there. Like they just found something. Like they just discovered something new. And there was one time I was so embarrassed. At the end of a video, you know when you're making the thumbnail faces, I'm recording myself on video and then I take a screenshot. It was 2 minutes of me. Like 2 minutes. That? I cut it out, but it was up there. Like, YouTube editor takes like 3 hours, and I'm just sweating bullets the entire time because it's embarrassing. And I left the audio on, so it's not like the audio is just muted, but like you're like breathing and stuff. Like it's just terrible,
dude. I had for a brief period of time, I had somebody helping me edit like videos and stuff. And there was a course lecture that I had, and it was like grinding to get these lectures done. And so I filmed this video, this lecture, and and then I'm like, and that's how you do that. And I'm like, man, that effing sucked. Oh, I'm so dead, or something like that. And like I cursed and everything.
Yeah,
he left it in there, dude.
Is that on purpose, or was that like?
No, he left. I think he left it in to share it with me. To like, this is funny. Look what you did. But then he accidentally left that in the file, like the upload folder. And so that ended up getting put into the program. Obviously that's gone now. We try to fix this stuff over time. But that made me feel real bad.
Gosh.
But it's exhausting, like it's not easy. I think before YouTube, I was like, oh, YouTube, that's easy. You just talk in front of a camera. It's exhausting. It gets frustrating too, because sometimes you just can't get your thoughts out. Like you have that, no? Like you're trying to film a video, you can't speak sometimes.
I had a terrible day on Saturday. It's weird too, because for me, it's like the most random times I'm like, I'm in the mood to film. And you can't predict it. And sometimes it'll happen at like 8:30, 9 p.m. at night. Out of nowhere, I'm like, I'm in the mood to film.
Yeah.
But it's like, well, you got plans, or you're sitting down for dinner, and you don't want to be like, so we can't do dinner right now. I'm in the mood to film. But it's weird. But I had an awful day on Saturday. Terrible. It was one of those days where sometimes you just wake up and don't feel like doing anything. And that was one of those days. I just woke up, did not feel like doing anything, but I knew if I wanted to stay on schedule, I had to film the video. So I just sit there in front of a camera and I get angry, and I'm just like, I can't say this sentence. And then the more you say it, the less the words lose their meanings, and then you're just stringing them through, but you don't have any inflection in them, because then you're just trying to say the words.
Yep.
And it's terrible. It took me 3 hours to film what is now like a 13-minute video. It took 3 hours. Terrible. And everyone knows, I come out of it like, oh, it's just angry.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, I've noticed if I'm recording for more than 30 minutes in a row, like if that camera's actually rolling different from like a podcast interview, obviously, or like a live stream. But like, if I'm actually like, okay, I've got my outline up, like this is what I want to get through. I want to hit this, then this, or whatever. If that camera's rolling for more than 30 minutes, I can't do it anymore. Like I get so angry. I just have to get up and walk away and come back later, because it just like the quality goes straight downhill.
Yeah.
Like, how do you do it for 3 hours, man? Like, I don't blame you. It sucks.
Yeah, but I just, what I just keep thinking is like, once it's done, it's done. That's it. It's just because you could see the light, you see the progress as you go through your video, and like, if I finish this segment, I'll take a break. And usually what I do is I have like, I'll basically be like, I could take a sip of coffee when I'm done with this. So after the segment, relax for a sec, have a sip of coffee. Like little tiny things like that kind of get me through it.
The little hacks.
Yeah. And then there are other days, weird. It's like other days I can't wait. I can't wait to wake up. Can't wait to film this. I'm so excited the entire time. It's random.
Do you ever get a day off?
I Yes, I do. I want to say I do, but it's not usually a full day. I would say my favorite days is when I could kind of get a little ahead and I'll finish up, whatever I might have to do by like 12 and take the rest of the day off. And there are days but I have to be ahead because otherwise the issue is that if I'm not at a point where I could take a day off, I'm in my head about thinking like, oh, these things I have to do, and it's piling up. It's like, every 10 minutes a stack of papers comes on your table. Every minute you're not there, it's growing up higher and higher. I would say about once a week, at the least, I could take a solid half day, at least. And usually weekends are both half days. So like half day Saturday, half day Sunday. So that's a full day between them, at least every week. And then then weekdays, usually I'm 100% done by 8 p.m. Sometimes as early as 6, sometimes as late as 9. But between 6 and 9, 100% done. And then that's just free night.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I feel like sometimes I just get anxiety if I'm away from it too long. But I like that you plan ahead. It's like that's great. Like you're scheduled ahead. What are you out right now? Till Wednesday, Friday?
So I got my Monday, Wednesday videos are done. And then Monday, so tomorrow I would work on the Friday video. But the way I kind of structure some of these videos is I'll try to always have one video that I could postpone. So the video right now I have planned on Wednesday, ideally that's going to be my Friday video because I'm going to have something else before it. And then if something else comes up, then my Friday video becomes my Monday. So I'm always going to have one I could push off in the future.
So that way, if like the stock market flips again, like that would get injected.
Right. Yeah. My go-to at this point, as I'm sure yours is almost always like late breaking news. But my thing is usually there's only so many topics I could talk about. And there's only so many times I could tell you to buy and hold the S&P 500. So my preference is that if there's a newsworthy event that's time sensitive, I always do that first. Because I know I only have a small little window I could talk about that. And then in a week from now, no one's going to care. So I prefer to go with the news stuff first. If there's nothing going on, then I go to a more evergreen topic.
Yeah. Which your second channel, man, the reactions have done so well. That channel is just great. Like that, I feel like that was such a good idea for you to diversify. But I just post all my crap on one channel, and I still don't know what's better, man.
I don't. Man, I would say you're almost at the point where you could do a second channel, but then again, it's like what you're doing right now is working so well. Why mess with it? Like I want to take a different direction entirely with like reaction content, and those have been fun. But I don't know, with you, I really enjoy the market open and close videos. I love those. Really? You're the first thing I listened to. You're the first thing. The video I listen to. I'll wake up in the morning, usually between 6 and 7. The first thing I do is I click on your video. 2x speed from the beginning.
Sure.
And I listen to it.
Oh, that's crazy, man. That's awesome. Yeah. Thank you for that. Oh, that's really cool. Yeah, it's what I found, I will say with those is they forced me to wake up. I used to have I always I want to be up certainly by market open. I used to be able to just consistently get up at 5, but the problem is now I stay up later because I'm playing a game. And so it's like impossible for me to wake up at 6 unless I've got something going on. So I'm like, well, if I do a market open live stream and people are expecting me to be there, it's almost like you don't need an alarm clock anymore. You start getting anxious, like, oh, people are relying on me. It's like you got an interview coming up, and you wake up. So it's been a really great hack for me to wake up.
You ever worried that at some point it's going to seem like then you're obligated to, then you have to. Let's just say you decide you want to sleep in one morning. What do you do in this? Because it would be suspicious for me at this point if I go on and I don't see you live. Because now you've basically obligated yourself to every morning during the week to do a live stream for an hour and a half.
Yeah. I have no idea. I mean, I just enjoy it so much at this point. Like to me, I think maybe if I stop loving it and stop having fun with it, then they'll go away. But it was just 2 weeks ago. I was like, It's time for a beer on a live stream. You know what I mean? Like, I just have fun with it, and now I got like I've been playing with like the soundboards and the stuff, and I enjoy it because it's the stock market is like it can be an emotional wreck for people, and it actually gives me just sanity too, because you look at the numbers and you can only like sit there and research numbers before your eyes cross for so long, but you have fun with it, and first of all, it makes the fluctuations less emotional, because you're just like vocalizing like, oh wow, cool, Tesla's down 10%, yay, there goes $1 million, but it's okay, buy the dip, but you know, like it helps like chill me down too.
It's crazy, yeah. So how long do you think you can keep this up?
I mean, yeah, I feel like you've been asking me that question since last March.
You know what? And you proved me wrong. I will openly admit that I have been wrong. I think I told you that like there's no way you could keep this up for more than a few months. I remember telling you, dude, you got to scale back a little bit. Just go to once a day. Prove me wrong. So
I guess I scaled it up. You know, somebody mentioned in the comments somewhere, they're like, hey, Kevin, like, what was this, November or something? Whenever I was on your podcast, I think it was November. So he's like, hey, Kevin, in November, you're like, oh, now I make 3 videos. And they linked the timestamp too. And it was like, oh, yeah, I make 3 videos a day now. Maybe one day I'll go to 4 or 5 or something like that. And like lately, that's kind of actually what I've been doing, which is kind of, I don't get it. And I don't understand really where it comes from. I think I just cut out the editing almost completely. That's probably a bad thing.
It's amazing. And it's also, I think, remarkable that you've been able to shift from the stimulus content and keep up the same momentum in stocks without a hitch. That's impressive. You were basically able to shift your entire audience alongside with you in a way that just felt natural. I didn't think that was going to happen either. Really, I thought
no, you're right.
Once the stimulus stuff settled down, I'm thinking, well, are those people really going to be interested in the stock market? Is that the same audience?
Yeah.
You're able to do it.
I mean, I hope so. You know what I found about playing Rust? It's been really interesting because I've been able to connect with just so many different people, like people from different parts of the world. Like, I don't know why, but there's even like somebody from New Zealand, and just like different parts of the world, different parts of the country. But it's so interesting hearing like, oh yeah, I started watching you because of stimulus, and now I watch the stock stuff, or I started because I watched your real estate stuff, but now you got me into Tesla stock. And it's really, really cool, because it's just like, wow, everybody's got a story. Like, everybody's a real human being watching. You know, for us, sometimes it's like it's subs and numbers and likes and dislikes or whatever, but like, no, these are all real people, and it's really interesting. It's fascinating. Yeah. It's overwhelming too.
Where do you go from here? Because I feel like there's got to be what's the next step for you?
I know. You know, I like what you've said. You've frequently mentioned like, oh, it should just have like more people, more content and stuff. But the problem is, I think I don't know that anybody else is. I don't even know if I could train somebody to do my content, right? So I would have to be the person talking about the stuff anyway, and then it's like, okay, well, can somebody go, oh, Kevin, here, this seems interesting. Big European nations halt AstraZeneca shot. We should talk about that. And it's like, is their outline going to be anything like what my outline would be? You know, they might say, hey, there's this regulator, the European Medicines Agency. And it's like, nobody cares about that. How does that affect Bitcoin? You know, like, I feel like it'd be really difficult for me to teach somebody. And maybe I'm just jaded. I don't know. Like, I don't know. You got it down with Jack. How'd you do it? I should be asking you, man.
Yeah, Jack started off just a little bit at a time. I mean, he started off literally doing Facebook emails for me for free. That evolved into kind of sorting through emails a little bit. That changed into edit. Like when I was doing the phone calls on the second channel, like anybody could edit those videos. It's just like cut and paste. So I had him doing that. Huh?
You stopped the phone calls. I just realized.
Yeah.
I think I was one of your last ones. Remember, like, dude loses 2 mil on Tesla or whatever?
That was a great episode. That was a #1 for us for a long time.
Wow.
Yeah. And I'll go back to that in a sec. But yeah, so I had him start on that. And then it got to a point, I think it was around March, when the stock market was crashing, everything was going on. I was so flooded with just content. And I did not have time to edit the second channel videos at all. And Jack had this weird in between where he was like not going to college because it was temporarily shut down. And like he had a few months. So we're like, okay, let's try it for a few months. And my second channel reaction videos, it became like this thing where it became like a race to finish the video in an hour, like to edit a whole video in an hour, because otherwise I'd fall behind. And so I'm sitting there just doing like the craziest, quickest edits, just to put this thing out there. And I decided, well, I'll teach Jack how to do it. So Jack could actually spend like 6 hours on an edit and make it good. So Jack actually spent 6 to 7 hours per video making them good. And he spent like, you know, what is that? Three videos, so like 20 something hours a week just editing videos on the second channel. And he made them way better than I could. And the audience noticed, and they like the funny edits. And it's become this new thing on the channel where I could talk to Jack in the camera, and then Jack will pull out of the edit, talk to me back in the video, and then it comes back to me like, Jack, we should do something like that, and then he'll do something like that. You know, it's fun stuff. But
that is cool. I guess I haven't watched the second in a couple weeks here. That's really cool though, because it is engaging. Like that's fun. I actually think this is somebody who had on the podcast. I watched a little bit of Taylor Bell's consulting video, and she did that kind of like poll out. So I wonder who inspired whom there, but that was really cool.
Yeah. So it was actually Colin and Samir that really pushed us to do that. And that was an interesting little thing. They're genius. I think they're some of the most underrated people on YouTube right now. They don't get the recognition they deserve.
They're so good.
Yeah. They like, I don't know why they don't have 1 million subscribers. Like they're doing everything right. But for some reason, it doesn't seem like they're getting pushed by the algorithm. I don't know. Their content's perfect. But they were one of the influences for me that they said, when you're editing sometimes, pull out of the edit. It humanizes the video, because sometimes people just think, oh, you're, you know, just a talking head in front of a computer. But when you pull out of that and like, hey guys, and you're talking to the viewer, it really humanizes both you and the video. And so we started to do that on the second channel. They're really, I owe that to them.
You just talking about that edit gave me anxiety.
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
I've like literally when I have a cut in my video, I get anxiety. Like I would rather just roll through my stumble and have a cut, because then like sometimes I'll put my video in Final Cut and I'm like, oh, I had 2 cuts. Now I got to zoom into that spot and make sure it flows. And then you're like adjusting the little lines to make sure like it actually doesn't sound, or like you put a cover picture over the cut and to make sure it actually sounds like it flows. Like my goal, like if I have my favorite way to film is just 0. Like, I don't know if it's just lazy, but editing gives me anxiety now. And I used to do it so much. Like I used to, you actually, I think, helped create this, because I used to put music, like my old real estate videos, like all these different emotional, like you would go from like, the video would start with like, dun, dun, and like, it's like angry and dark and despair and bad. And then it would take you through like this whole ride of music where then it's like, oh, la, 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 you know, whatever. Yeah. I would spend 2 hours alone on the music and like fading the music in together and stuff. But I noticed you didn't do any music in your videos, so I blame you. Or you used to do one.
I did
the same thing, like the Bosa or whatever, Roma or whatever soundtrack, and you got rid of that. And then I'm like, wait a minute, if he doesn't need music, I don't need music. I think that's what started it.
Yeah, give me 1 second. Okay, sorry about that. I just want to see what that text was all about.
No, it's another tenant.
Yeah, no, it was Jeremy. For some reason, I don't have Jeremy's. I don't know why I don't have any contacts saved from this computer. So when I get a notification, it just comes up as So I'm trying to figure that. So it just comes up as a number, and I saw a Vegas number come up, and I'm like, what is it? And I saw something like pertaining to me, and I was like, what? Anyway,
no worries. No worries.
I was just sorry.
Yeah, I was just saying that I think you getting rid of music in your videos literally set me off on this course of like, that's it, no editing.
Yeah, I forget what. I forget what prompted that from me. Because yeah, I always used to do music in the back, and I'd have like the same 4 songs in the back.
Yeah,
and I think I was worried about the video becoming too boring without any music in the back. I really felt like the music helped it flow.
Yeah.
But I forget what it was. I think I saw someone else not doing music, and like theirs is fine. So I'm like, all right, let me try it, and they did just as well without the music.
Yeah, I found now when I listen to people with music and it's just like, I just want to get like some financial info or whatever, it almost bothers me because sometimes like I'm listening to CNBC and a video on at the same time, like I'm totally multitasking. But if there's music on as well, it's too much. So I don't know if other people are doing that too. But yeah, so I have another question here. This is another question that came up. So I don't know. I interviewed Lynette today. She's big on gold. She thinks whether we see inflation or deflation, it doesn't matter. We're going to this direction of basically people not trusting the dollar anymore. What do you think? Like, what do you think when you hear people talk about, like, at least put some of your money in gold? What's your take on that?
It seems like everyone who talks about gold is over 65 years old, 70 years old. This is what they're accustomed to. Listen, I'm sure at some point when we're in our 70s, we're going to be, the young people should put their money in Bitcoin. And then some kids going to be like, all right, grandpa, yeah, whatever. And they're going to have some weird crypto lithogram, something that they're putting their money into. I think every era, every generation has its gold. I think for me, that gold might be a small allocation to Bitcoin. I'm not doing gold. I don't see the point in gold. Historically, it has not been a good investment. When you look back 30, 40 years, how gold has performed compared to basically anything else. If you do anything else, you're going to make significantly more money than gold. I don't get the point of it. I see the point of a little allocation to Bitcoin, but that's my goal. So someone might tell you 5% gold. I would say, well, if you're young and you're okay with the risk, 5% Bitcoin.
Yeah. Would you ever do like Andre's he's got to be 60% Bitcoin or something like that. Right. Did you ever see yourself doing that?
I would have to be so profitable in that. If I put in, let's say $1 million into Bitcoin, and that turned into 10, and now all of a sudden that's half of my portfolio, it wouldn't worry me because I'm so much in profit.
Right.
I wouldn't if that weren't already basically house money at that point, then yeah, I would be worried about that. I would not at this point place that much in Bitcoin, but if it naturally grew to that over time, I don't think I'd be opposed to it.
Yeah. One of the concerns, and I want to hear your thoughts on it. One of the concerns I have is that what if the inflation doesn't come, right? And what if this big fear goes away? We go to the 2-3% yields on the 10-year or whatever, but we don't end up actually getting long-term inflation. And one of the big reasons people are investing in Bitcoin is obviously this inflation hedge. Is it possible people are just going to dump out of it, you think? And then just I should go back to the Tesla or whatever. Tesla went to 1,500. Kathy was right or whatever.
Maybe. But here's the thing. It's whether or not we see inflation, people are always they're always thinking 5 years from now. They're never really thinking, what it's not right now, but it could be 5 years from now. I think in 5 years, let's say there's no inflation. People then will be, another 5 years, any day now. I think there's always going to be an element of, well, they're printing more money still. Just wait. I believe
just wait. It just got delayed.
Yeah. It's on its way. It just missed its train by a few minutes. I don't know. There's always going to be something. So listen, what I find interesting, and I'm not sure if it was you that mentioned this or that it was Andre, but we have how many trillions of dollars outstanding right now. But basically when we're making these other currencies, they're not added into the outstanding monetary supply, right? So it's almost like if you create your own crypto, let's just say now it's worth $1 trillion. You've just expanded the total money in circulation without actually affecting anything. And if you're not selling that, where does it go? So does that factor in? We don't know. So we could see a shift of money from USD and fiat into Bitcoin cryptocurrency. And it's there now. And so I don't know. It's interesting when you start to think of all these dynamics that never were a thing before.
Yeah, it's really creating wealth out of thin air. I mean, like, you know, somebody buys this $69 million NFT. In theory, if there were other people like, you know, I'd consider buying that for 100 million, or make my math simple for double that, right? So, you know, 138 million. I'd consider buying it for 138. But the original buyer's like, well, I don't want to sell it for 138. I'll sell it for 200. In theory, he just doubled his net worth because the market value could somewhat be deemed to be established there. And this is creating money out of thin air. And then what's going to happen is people are going to be able to leverage that $138 million appraisal on this digital NFT. And I mean, really, we are literally just creating wealth out of thin air. Yeah.
It'll be interesting because I mean, I don't know if I would count that paper money as literally not paper money, but money on a spreadsheet, let's just say, as real usable money. Because that's the thing too.
It's like refinance it. That's when it changes, is when you can now take a loan against it. And now you got tax-free leverage against the value of your NFT. That's when things go nuts, I think. Because then people are like, oh, I'll buy all these NFTs. They're guaranteed to appraise for double, like art.
I don't know if you could leverage art, can you? That seems like too nuanced of a space for you to be able to go to a bank and say, hey, I got a Picasso here. It's worth 300 grand. I just need 50K from this. Can you do that?
Well, I mean, think about it. People are borrowing against Bitcoin on margin, right? And the cool thing about that is with all these smart contracts and stuff that you have now, the lender really has very little risk, because if market values plummet, thank you, NFT is now mine, right? The risk becomes a complete collapse under that original value.
Yeah, but let's say the Bitcoin example. You leverage Bitcoin. How much are they loaning you on that?
I think 25%.
So Bitcoin would have to drop 75%.
Right.
In order for, okay. Yeah, actually that makes sense. If they get ownership of that Bitcoin, if they see too big of a drop, I think it's reasonable.
And you know, they probably have requirements where it's like, oh, we'll lend you 25%, but we're gonna margin call you at 35% to give them some like some time, because if it's plummeting, like it could go fast. The banks will always figure out a way to protect themselves, whether they're actual banks or these, you know, the BlockFis or Voyagers or whatever. But yeah, I mean, that goes to NFTs. I mean, it's just money out of thin air. It's weird, man.
Did you see that the Beeple controversy? That was Andre's video on Friday. Did you watch that?
I did not. No, what's that?
You gotta watch it. So It's not confirmed necessarily, but it's watch Andre's video. It's really so Beeple's piece, it sold for 69 million. Sold for 69 million of, like, again, I'm very, very sparse on the detail. I listened to his video. I don't fully understand it. My understanding is that it sold for 69 million, but 69 million of like a new cryptocurrency that was created. So it's not really 69 million. Like, I could create my own gram coin. And now I value my own gram coin at, like, you know, $69 million a piece. And it's one of them. And I just use that to buy the thing. That's what it was. It was this other cryptocurrency that was used that went up in value, and they used that currency to buy this piece for the equivalent at the time of 69 million. But is it really worth it?
This is what I'm talking about, creating wealth out of thin air. Because, I mean, seriously, what they could do now is bring that coin to popularity out of thin air. And then let's say now this coin goes up even more in value. It's creating wealth where there was no wealth before. It's absolutely incredible. Yeah. My concern is the whole thing just blows up one day. Now, I'm not like trying to boomer like, oh no, crypto's all going to zero. But when it does, like, there is no backstop. There's nothing. There's no Fed that's gonna bail that out. You know, like, you don't got a JPOW coming to save your BTCs.
Yeah, that's where it gets weird, because you had I remember this is like 3.5-4 years ago. There's a website called Steam. I don't know if you remember that, but there used to be
gaming website.
No, it was like Steam It.
Oh,
something
okay.
like Steam It. It was basically like a Reddit, okay? But it encouraged really high quality posting. And depending on how many upvotes you got, you would receive back like a Steam coin. So it would encourage you to like really write the best piece you can. And then like people will upvote your post and you receive money. And you could redeem your Steam coin for actual like USD cash. And there were some people on there, I remember back then, would be like, I'm making $20,000 a month in Steam coin by just posting articles to this website. That's wealth out of thin air. That's just up crap. That is making up crap. Actually, I've not followed up on it since. I just watched this thing. It's like 10x since then. But that's what we're talking about. I mean, you're essentially just creating your own currency, giving it whatever value you want to say it's worth, and then hope that people buy into it and treat it as a currency.
Yeah. It's I don't know, man. Like, look, I've got some Bitcoin. I think the Ethereum thing, by the way, is great that you're diversifying into that. But I mean, exactly like what you're saying here. I mean, there's really no difference between what you just described and digital Bitcoin, right? It's just a digital representation.
Yeah.
It's trust. You know, it's basically just we all trusting each other that there's value. You know, people say, I see this on Twitter, like, oh, the value of Bitcoin is what people believe it is. Great. Well, how does that work when like the Bitcoin version of a pandemic happens? Like, you remember the pandemic, the panic that there was? You know, people just like, this is the end of the world. Stock market's imploding. It's over. There was a lot of freaking fear. What happens when that fear migrates to cryptos?
Yeah, I'm looking at Steam now. So Steam hit its peak December of 2017, as with everything else. Hit its peak of just over $8 per Steam. It's been trading now at 18 cents. And now with the recent run up, it's gone up to 62 cents.
Oh, wow.
So from $8 to 62 cents. It's still there. Steam.
That's, I mean, it's almost it kind of almost feels a little like penny stockish, you know? It's like, oh, maybe this thing will 100x or it just won't, you know?
Yeah, and the website is called Steemit, STEEMIT.com, and you can see all posts. It's very much like Reddit, except you could see how much money these posts are making, and it seems like some of these posts are making like a few $100 each per post.
That's crazy. You know what? A slight shift here. Topic that's kind of been regularly coming up, at least in Discord here, is would you ever do like a YouTuber and you know, sell tickets to just anyone or whatever, like cruise, where it's like you got like you know, a few speaking events on the thing or whatever events, but you literally just book out a cruise ship with just like subscribers.
How is that? Who came up with that idea? It
came up in one of our live streams about like one of the thoughts was like, oh, we should do a course member live stream, and I'm like, well, what if I don't have that many course members who like what if it's just public? And then I'm like, well, in that case, what if just like like it'd be so funny. Like, think about it. You just literally book out an entire Disney cruise or mainline Disney cruise, like I don't know, or Norwegian or Carnival, because you know those are more popular. I feel like with the investing culture anyway.
It's draining, honestly, and I get burnt when I talk to too many people. Like, that's a good point. Remember when you and I would go to all these events?
It's so long, man.
I know, but we used to go, and it was about an hour that we'd be able to go and walk around. After that, we'd have to sneak off in another room because it was too much. And for me, I could talk with a few people, and that's fine. But when it begins to be a line, and then it goes through the motions, and it's draining. And then I get back, and I don't want to talk to anybody. I don't want to do anything. It's just draining for me. So I don't know.
That's a good point.
Probably not.
We'll have to have like dueling cruise ships where it's just like the Millennial Money Group on one. Like we have just us, and then people could take like little dinghies, like lifeboats between the two. That's the subscriber cruise ship. No.
Yeah. It also seems weird. It's like Because some of those events, like you could speak to a room of like 100 or 200 people. And in my mind, I'm like, this just seems inefficient. I could make a video. Like right now, you're speaking to like 8,000 people. Imagine filling up a room with 8,000 people.
Oh, gosh,
just the logistics of that and the cost of doing that. And people have to pay to get themselves there. And where are they going to stay? And where are they going to park? And who's going to feed it's just all these logistics versus the simplicity of being able to be on your computer, just on your phone, listening while you're cooking dinner, whatever. It's just that to me, logistic. Like I'm all about simplicity at this point. It just seems like that's more simple.
True. Yeah. I mean, think about like Zoom. This, even what we're doing right now, it's so freaking convenient. I mean, I was just showering Jack right before this and trying to get the soap out of his eyes. It's gotten really easy, and in some way, it takes a lot of stress out of our lives too. Just being able to do this like this.
I have to say there is something to be said about the magic in person. I've noticed it even when working with Jack. There is that little bit of that element you can't really figure out that just is a little bit better in person. Not always, but I would say some of the time you miss out on that little extra pizzazz, whatever's there. There's some sort of synergy that happens when you're in person.
Yeah. What do you say? Here's another question that comes up a lot. What do you say to people? I've kind of got like this rule of thumb that if you're, and pivoting a bit, if your net worth is under 500K, start with real estate and then get into stocks later. When your net worth is up or you own your first place and then do stocks by the time. How do you feel about that? Like, lately, obviously, now obviously stocks are easier, but then again, you've got a net worth that exceeds this.
I don't think it's a net worth thing. I think it's a time thing. That's really what I see it. I don't think it needs to be if your net worth is below something, do this instead. Jack was actually, I'll bring it back to Jack here. It was another perfect example. He really wants to invest in real estate. And he was showing me a property that needed some work and it was in another state. And we're talking about this. And
wait, not Vegas or California.
Right. Not Vegas or California.
Why?
Cash flow. Come
on, man.
This was a deal. Okay, so I'll show this back to him, and I was honest with him. It was a good deal. There was equity in the property, and he was going to be cash flow positive, and he would be making about $800 a month, and it was good. And I think that worked out to be. I ran it through with him. I'm like, you're making 15-16% on your money with a property manager and everything. Not bad, but I'm telling him for the net amount that you're making, let's say $800 a month. If we push out one video a month, just one, there's your $800 a month right there. If we get just one more sponsor every third month, there you go, fully paid for. And you get to keep all your capital to use somewhere else. And then I'm breaking it down. I'm like, okay, if you throw it in an index fund, you're making 7 versus this over here, you're really missing out on like 450. That's the difference. Now, when you think of it that way, just one video every other month. How many hours
was this place? 100 grand?
I think it was like 150, 200, I think.
Okay.
Something like that. It was, it was a good deal. And I was honest. I'm like, this is a good deal. If you're looking for an investment, this is fine. But for him, it just, when you look at the time and when you think of all the things you could be doing, to me, that didn't seem like a good use of time. It was good.
I think it's income based too, right? I mean, for like $800 a month isn't going to change. Like you just broke it down. It's not going to change Jack's life. It's not going to make that much of a difference. I think for somebody like, for example, I always look back to me when I was 19 and it's like, dude, I'm making $2,000 a month. That's nothing. And I got to figure out how to make more money. I'm like, well, if I buy this house, my net worth is going to go up by 100 grand because we're getting it so far under market value. Just get me in. Like, I just want the net worth boost. For me, that was like it was somebody put me on a teeter totter and then like some elephant fell on one side and just slung me up. It was like, it gave me that real boost. $800 a month of cash flow is going to do nothing for Jack except distract. And then he's got to fly there and stuff.
Yeah. I don't know, but I mean, I told them, listen, if you wanted to do it, but just make sure a manager does everything. You don't even want to go to the property. You want it to be totally
Okay.
hands off. Then I'm like, well, but my thing, I could see the mental aspect of it because that's the way it was for me. It was very much like I need to get a certain amount of a month in rental income. And then no matter what else happens, like even if everything fails, then at least I'm okay. And so for me, it was a bit of a mental aspect of that. But I also see things a lot differently than I did back then. Even in the last like 6 years, I think just my entire perspective on a lot of things has changed. That just I think you evolve and you kind of grow over time, and starting what you were doing when you were building it up isn't the same as what you're doing later, and trying to preserve that and make the most of it. So
yeah, you what's going on with your coffee brand?
Delayed about a month. Coming soon.
Bad? Who cares?
Yeah, listen, I have been chomping at the bit to get this stuff done. I just get impatient. That's all, and it's at no fault of anything or anyone. It just runs late. So I was excited to announce.
You need an affiliate.
We could work. So listen, I got this whole like package that I was planning to give to you. It's a whole box of stuff.
Oh my gosh. I didn't want to ask for handouts. No. You don't have to do that.
You don't have to shout it out or anything like that. It's a gift, and it's supposed to look all nice with like a mug and everything. It's just changing a few things up. It'll be nice.
Oh, well.
But yeah.
I still owe you that Tesla. It hasn't come yet, but I'll send that to you.
Oh, the tequila.
Yeah, if I get it. If I get it. Like I was gonna put one probably where my Mario star is. So over here, I might put one there. I don't know. I might also drink it with and like fill it back up with like Jose Cuervo or something like that.
If you drink it, I would like to be there too and have a sip. Like
okay.
I don't really drink, but for that, I would want to have a sip.
We'll have to. You know what? Maybe we just have to bring both of them to Vegas once this craziness is over, and then we'll do it like at a casino, and then we'll put $250, the value of it, on like black or something like that.
Yeah, I'm good with that. It would be cool too for the Tesla tequila, since it's all glass, to get one of those little LED lights, like the little tiny ones, and have it illuminate the whole thing.
Oh wow!
You would find a way to do that so it looks like it lights up.
We'll have to do that with the one we drink.
Yeah.
So, what I want to hear about this. You've also got this. So you got the coffee brand coming, which is awesome. You've also got a vlog channel now coming. Can you talk about that?
Yeah. So it's, I don't know. Okay. I don't know if I want to say the name quite yet, because I don't.
No worries.
I've been telling Jack to get this channel up and running, but I'm afraid if I say what the name is, someone is going to go and take the name.
Don't say it. The name doesn't matter.
Oh, but it's a fun name though.
Okay.
A fun name.
Well, now you have to tell us.
No, I can't. But anyway, we filmed we tried this out for one day, and just to see what it was like to film a vlog. And I watched this thing over. It's hilarious. And I told Jack, I want to be hands off with this thing. I don't want to ever think that there's a camera. I don't want to think about like having any involvement. I just want to just film throughout the week. And throughout the week, there's got to be 10 minutes of just something interesting happening. That's it.
Yeah.
But we filmed for one day and for like half a day. And it was so good. Like, it's just, it was fun. It's weird because it's like, this is stuff that happens during the day, but when you put music behind it and you like put edits on stuff, like it's just stupid stuff like thumbnails. Like, here's an example of what we filmed. The video, it was how I bought the Ford GT for $0, or how about whatever the video title was. And we're thinking of thumbnails. And I'm like, remember that thumbnail with the dude who's like laying on top of his Tesla Model S, and that's got like 3 million views? Let's do a thumbnail like that, except I'm laying on top of the Ford GT. And so Jack says, yeah, that's the thumbnail. Let's do it. And then the next shot is the Ford GT, vroom, 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 like, driving up the street. And then it's like, okay, let's do this. But it starts raining as I drove up to the top of the hill to do this. And Jack's like, what do I do? My what is it? The drone has the exposed motors. I'm like, I think we got this. It's just a drizzle. It's okay. And then I'm carefully climbing on top of the GT. And the GT, the doors kind of take up most of the roof with it, which so it leaves like this little slit. I'm supposed to lay on this slit. And I'm thinking, can this support my weight? And if I lay on this thing, is it going to crack the windshield? Because with the Lotus, the windshield is so just like it's not. So if you put too much weight on the front of the Lotus, same with your car, with the Tesla, put too much weight on that front window, it's going to crack. And that was a common problem for Lotus owners when they get in. You're not supposed to put your weight on that. So I'm thinking, am I going to crack the windshield on this? I get on top of the car, and you hear it on the camera. You hear like a crack. And I'm sitting there, like my whole body just freezes. I'm like, something just happened on this, but let's get the shot because I'm already up here. If we got the shot, I get down. It turned out it was like this little plastic piece in the back that was just creaking. No damage, nothing, but it's like the piece is a little wiggly in the back. It's a little plastic in the back. So that piece just like, no damage, nothing was done. But anyway, so we got that. We did the thumbnail. Then afterwards, I was like, listen, I'm not in the mood to do this anymore. But but we kept filming anyway. It just turned out to be a great episode. And then Jack was telling me about his this girl he was texting and why she's not getting back to him. And then it's him and I going back and forth on like, you shouldn't have sent that message, sent this message. It's just fun. It was weird to see a different dynamic that's not finance related at all, but it kind of is because it's like centered on the YouTube channel. And then we got sushi at the end, and I'm like, all right, guys, so we're gonna monetize the sushi. Here's the spot right here. So by filming it now, it's a business write-off, and now we can make our money back on what we spend, and it's good.
I mean, it's brilliant. I mean, you're kind of right. I mean, like if you film throughout the whole week, I mean, now all of a sudden you've just, I mean, technically everything, I mean, in a daily vlogger's life, isn't everything technically necessary and ordinary?
I guess so. But my thing is I don't want to think about this vlog at all.
Yeah.
So I don't want anything planned. I don't want anything scripted. There's no fake. I think at the end goal here, and we're going to try it out for a few months, see what it's like. But I think the end goal would be have someone full-time where their entire job is just to film 24/7, edit everything, post the videos.
Wow.
So I'm thinking just a full-time vlogger. So that way I don't want to be there like sitting with the camera, like trying to edit this stuff. Have someone else that's their full-time thing. If it does
get you like too much sameness though. I mean, like, you know, the first few are going to be really awesome, but
that's
like,
true.
I mean, unless you're traveling, isn't that a risk?
Totally.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that, but listen, Jack is telling me, and you could let me know what you think of this, and Macy a little bit too, have been telling, well, we got to do something exciting. I'm like, no, just a normal day. Maybe they're right. I don't know. Jack is saying like we should be doing stuff, or like at least once a week, let's go and do something fun.
Yeah, I did a daily vlog for 100 days. It's like a 100-day challenge in like 2016. And what we found was it was actually kind of fun because Jack was, I don't know, he would have been like 1 year old at that time. It's kind of fun because it was just like, we had to, partially also potentially stressful, but we literally, every time we wanted to film the daily, we would have to think like, okay, well, we have to do something fun. We have to do something entertaining. So it's like, okay, well, let's go here, or let's go to Disney, or let's go do this. I don't know how I'd be able to incorporate something like that in my schedule now, but yeah.
Yeah, you know what? I mean, my thinking was this, and I was saying like, I don't want this to take away from the main channel. I think we gotta look at our priorities here, and really the priority is the main channel. Let's not distract. Let's not take away from that.
Sure.
This is meant to be a bonus. Maybe you're right. Maybe you're right that like we can't just every week. Oh, it's a thumbnail day. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just thinking. Part of me thinks like
figure it out.
My second channel, the reaction videos, a lot of those don't differ. I mean, sure, the subject matter changes. My reactions are always, spending money at Starbucks, doing this, doing that. It's the same format, but people like every episode. And I'm thinking myself sometimes too, it's like, even let's say your live streams.
Yeah.
It's the same thing, really. I mean, not within a context. Yeah,
I got
obviously
you.
different things are happening every day, but it's still the stock market. It's still it's Tesla stock is up 10%. Tesla stock is down 10%. It's one or the other, but it's still enjoyable. And I'm thinking, maybe I don't know. It's too early. I'm going to try it out. Yeah,
multiple Cybertrucks with different wraps. Are you going to get one?
Yeah, well, everybody put $100 deposit down.
Oh, everybody, yeah.
Everybody.
Are you actually going to get one? I mean, you got the GT, you got a Volvo, you got a Tesla. What more do you need?
I would get one. I would.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. I do.
Are you going to buy more Tesla stock?
No.
Really? Even like in like the 600s here?
I feel like I'm too heavy in it. Listen, I didn't buy it.
Wood says it's going to the moon, man.
The Tesla stock is my biggest number, like my biggest holding of any individual stock. So? And I feel like I'm too exposed to it.
Who says that? The comments or you?
Me.
Okay. Because I get those comments all the time too. People are like, Kevin, you're an idiot. But I remember getting those comments in March. I got those comments in March and they had a little bit of an influence in me. Like there was like, I would go buy a stock and there were like days that I'm like, damn, maybe the comments are right. Maybe I'm buying too much Tesla. And like, just the thought was there. I still bought Tesla. I still bought stuff, but maybe I bought a little less Tesla than I would have, maybe instead of putting 25K, I put 20 in or 15, right? And like those are really expensive comments. So that's why I had to ask that. Like, is it you or is it what society thinks?
No, it's me. I just think I have enough in Tesla already. And at this point, I'm more concerned about just not losing money. I mean, that's really what it comes down to is how can I grow this in the safest way possible?
Yeah.
And why take the risk?
Risk. There's no risk. It's guaranteed.
If you've already I feel like within reason, I kind of already have as much as I would reasonably need. And now I want to be I want to play it safe. Be a little smart about it and just actually, I shouldn't say be smart about it because who knows? Maybe I'm making a wrong choice. I'll be conservative with this and just make sure that I make it last and that I take less risk. Maybe I'm leaving some money on the table, but I just rest easy at night knowing that I'm not too focused on one specific company.
Why don't you sell your duplex? You could get the homeowner's exemption and get out tax-free.
Thought about it. Thought about it.
It's another video, man. Tax-free millionaire, baby.
Yeah, I've never sold a place before on my own, so this would be the first one. So. And I bought it at such a low price. I don't even think. I would still get taxed on it. I think
no way. What? Hold on. Well, maybe. Well, because you're not. Well, get married.
Get married, and then you get 500K. So I think the net it's probably worth about $1,250 right now with both units renovated. Bought it 585. Put one. Maybe 585 plus 250. Is probably my. I'm just roughing it here.
Yeah.
835 minus 1250. So yeah, $415,000. So, and then after closing costs and everything, let's do another 50K closing costs. So I'm looking at 365.
Oh, but you can represent yourself. Yeah. Okay.
Right.
I got those numbers. Yeah. So there you go. Tax-free 365. Dump that right into Tesla. Now look, you know me, I'm all for never sell real estate, but you're in a different situation.
I don't know. My other thought, I want to make sure I'm not cutting out here. My other thought is that duplex is now cash flowing really well. And, I got a decent. What's up?
You're paying more taxes on that.
That's
California
true.
Taxes at that.
Listen, that's true. I don't know. Yeah.
It depends. You know, my thinking is, it depends what you're going to do with it, right? Like, here you take this tax-free money out and you're going to put it in a savings account. Don't do it, right? You're going to put it into the S&P 500. I don't know. You're going to go all in on Tesla. I don't know. It depends. What do you want to do?
Yeah. I mean, I'm holding on to too much cash now as it is. So if I sell that off, that
you don't
money,
need more cash.
No.
Yeah.
So
no, just keep it then. Because you could do that with your other one too. Your other Santa Monica duplex.
Yeah. And that I like having that spot to be able to come back to on a vacation or something like that. There is something nice, and that has too, like, sentimental value of just being on the same street I grew up on and like the whole area.
Oh yeah. And
I got like a 2.8% 30-year fixed rate mortgage. Now I don't want to give that up, and so
you can't even get it anymore now.
Right, and then I don't want to bother renting it. So it's weird. I'm just
you should
keep it. Yeah.
NFT your mortgage. Like, look, I got a 2.8. Like, what are you gonna do with NFT, man?
You know, I thought, when did I mention this? I think it was in a upcoming podcast episode. How fun would it be to NFT all of my thumbnails? You could own the original one of one. The three away. You know, listen, like, some of those thumbnails, like, get the $78 Tesla thumbnail. That's got to have some type of value. Get the $250 million man thumbnail. That's got to have some. That's got to be worth something. So I think that would be fun to be able to do that. Who knows if that's ever going to have value? Who knows? It could be worth nothing, or if you know, I become like an Elon Musk or something like that. Everyone's like, wow, or like a Warren Buffett, and you got Warren Buffett's thumbnail back when he was like, 28 years old making YouTube videos. I don't know. I think that'd be just fun. If people got money to burn, yeah.
We got to, if you're going to do that, I'll have to NFT the stimulus check update.
I love that. Oh man.
I got 684 to sell. You can have one out of 684 of the whole shebang.
Gosh, those are crazy days. I look back at that. That was when I was having, I don't think I'd ever have so much fun in terms of making content, when every day there was like this crazy update. Like, everything was unprecedented. And I remember waking up every day. It was like, I gotta get this video out the same day. Oil has gone negative. Like, some crazy crap. Those are the days where it's like every day is something new. It's like, seriously, within a week, it's like oil went negative. And then we got a $2,000 a week proposal. And then right after that, like, something else just crashed. It's like nuts. It was nuts. And it's just,
I will say something.
Yeah. And then it was, I had so much fun learning about everything and like really diving into it. It was just an interesting news update time, I think, for so many people. And same with everything in the beginning during the shutdown. I was scared. Like, I remember reading on the computer and like convincing myself, because I've left the house and like taken a walk around the block. I was like, I have it because I have like this one symptom, and just going down the list of, and this was like late March, like before we knew anything, and just the panic and watching the markets every day, just sitting there, just in disbelief of, it's wild.
I mean, yeah, you're so right. I went to get the mail, and like, I got mask and gloves, and I got like my, the P100 and that. And then all of a sudden, like, I turned the corner down my alley and I turned right, and there are these other people, and everybody just stops and we're like, checkmate. Like, oh shit. Like, oh my gosh, other humans.
I know.
But we didn't know.
Yeah, it was nuts.
What's weird is you came to the hoarder house like 2 weeks before all of this, and we were handing out N95 respirators because, the house is dusty. those became like valuable.
I know. And I remember too, the grocery store. You used to have to wait in line at the grocery store for like 30, 45 minutes. Everyone was 6 to 8 feet apart. And we would get there really late at night because that was when it was least crowded. And it was still like a 30-minute wait. And we'd drive by Trader Joe's sometimes. And like the line was around the block. I mean, it was just insane.
Did you see my what was it, the hazmat suit video?
Yes.
Where I went to the grocery store.
That was much. I mean,
it was, but like, as crazy as it, like now it sounds idiotic, but like at the time we're like, like Lauren's got asthma. This is a lung related thing. I don't want to kill Lauren. Like we didn't want like who killed Kenny from South Park here, Yeah. But yeah, no, I mean that was literally the definition of peak fear right there. Yeah. You saw it in the markets too.
Yeah, I know. And it was weird for me because I had always gone into the real estate office every single day. And that was my habit. Every day I'd go in. And to not do that and to work from home was, and those first few weeks took a big adjustment to do that. And then after a while, I realized, like, wait a second, this is amazing. I prefer this.
Yeah. But it was like a year ago, like a year ago in 2 days, a year ago, Tuesday was the bottom of the market. This is all still so recent. It's
weird because it feels like like I'm forgetting all the details. I already forgot like half the details already.
That's scary, man.
We were in the middle of a move, by the way, from that duplex to the place in West LA, and we got notice of the shutdown, and we were in between spots, and we were one night, and I remember like the curfew was like at midnight or something like that, so we just like booked it to the duplex, grabbed all of our stuff, left it like half of our stuff was there. Where it's like, all right, we can't come back. Like we fully went in there thinking like it was shut down. Like there's going to be like police in the streets. Like we're not going to be able to leave anywhere. And so we're like, we're not coming back here. And I remember like setting up the security system thinking like, what if people start like breaking into places that they know are empty? It's like, it's wild.
That's right. We had this, I totally forgot, but there was a whole period of time where like, oh my gosh, martial law is coming. Like gas masks are going to be marching down our streets.
Yeah. That's literally what I was preparing for. And I remember too that like some of those things around that curfew time, there were cops just like driving down the street just with their lights on. No siren. That was the scariest thing when you just see cops just driving down the street, just the lights on, just like turning around like it was crazy. It was nuts.
Oh gosh, man. Scary. What an insane time. Do you think we're gonna see like honestly, do you think we're going to see something like that again in our lifetimes? Like not necessarily a pandemic, but that kind of panic.
I don't think so. It would have to be something even more drastic because I think what had happened was so new and unprecedented that we really, at least for me mentally, I prepared for the worst. I'm prepared like, all right, I'm going to stay inside and this is it. This is the new normal.
We had Cheerios blown out of closets because we're like, we're living off Cheerios for the next 3 months.
I forgot about right before we went to the grocery store and got all the canned foods that we could, and there were shelves empty, entire aisle empty. And so we're picking the leftovers for what's
all the tattooed chefs sold out.
Yeah. No, but now we got a whole pantry full of soups that were just bought last year. Yeah. But I don't think so. I think what's more realistic, if we're talking about like the market, in terms of the market, I could see an extended downturn where instead of the market going like 30, 40% in a week or two, we could see year over year down 10%, down 5%, down 10%, down. I think that would be a lot more discouraging for people. Yeah. I think just the quick blip down and up, people almost felt like, okay, that's a temporary little pain, but look at all the opportunity here. I think people are going to get really discouraged if the market's going down, let's say 10% a year for 4 years. Imagine
Wow.
that. Imagine that. Something like that happens where it's just the economy's out of whack. We're trying to get back on track. I don't know if that'll happen, but I think that would be a bigger danger, I think, at this point in terms of the market. I don't know what might cause that, but as far as another like pandemic, illness issue,
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it would have to be, God forbid, more severe than this, and that would be just catastrophic. I mean, we got to knock on wood here, but
No,
it would have to be more severe than that to incite the same level of panic. But then again, what else is? I guarantee what's going to happen in the future. We're not going to be able to predict what it might be, and it could not even be like an illness related. It could be like the war, or it could be some
bomb,
right?
Nuclear, right? Radiation or something.
That would be. I would give that towards, and I hate even going there mentally, because then I get up in my head like, oh, if that were to happen, then I get all psyched out in my head. Then I
still have my radiation suit.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. You remember my video?
It's a great video. But
apparently I learned that it just washes off. Could you, like, isn't that weird? Like radiation washes off? I don't know.
Wow. But yeah, I think whatever could happen that's worse is never something that we would be able to predict, because if we were able to predict it, we would be able to almost prepare for it. And I think whatever's going to happen is going to be something we are not prepared for. And I think warfare has got to be the only one that I could think of that, and maybe we are. And you know what? If we are, it's probably better we not let anyone else know we're prepared for it.
Right.
Or maybe we do, I don't know. But it's kind of spitballing here. But it's going to be something like that.
No. I mean, like, even, and this is, it's weird to me, but like the excesses of the, hold on. It's really annoying.
Is that me?
I need to switch headphones.
Huh.
One sec. Okay. Sorry. You talk for a second.
All right, let me talk. Yeah, I don't hear it. I don't hear it at all. I have headphones over here too. I could put headphones in. You know what's interesting? Right now, we just lost like 200 people. I don't know what's going on. I'm looking at the comments here. Try now. We're losing viewers. This is bad. Guys, just stay with it. How about this? While Kevin's fixing this, just go and hit the like button. Takes you a quick second. That's it. Go hit the like button. How is it? Oh, wow. Is it just me now? This is interesting. Now it's just me. Okay, guys. So what am I going to talk about? I'm going to go to the comments. Reading the comments here. Let's see what... hey, Graham. Good to see you. True supporters are still here. This is interesting. I find it so just weird that we hit a little snag and instantaneously people drop off. Oh, Macy, look at this. Savannah Smiles is here. Everyone, go to Savannah Smiles on YouTube. Go subscribe. We got to get her to 50K. Oh, that's so sweet. Macy, how long have you been listening for? That's awesome. Yeah, now it's my channel. Graham blinked twice. Hold on. Yeah, no, I find it so interesting that what's this?
Hold on. I apparently can't get anything working.
Weird.
This is what happens when you just when you work all day long. At some point you end up with literally, I have 4 dead headphones on my desk right now.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. I was going to ask, and I don't mean to interrupt because I know you were thank you for taking over there. I was going to ask, what do you think, and we can kind of wrap up on this topic too. Do you think we'll ever actually see a big real estate crash again? You know, I feel like in 2008, we could kind of see things coming, but like, you know, just the stuff I'm looking at now, I don't see those horrible catalysts, you know?
I don't know. I've been thinking like the market's going to be going down at some point. I think I remember talking in 2018 thinking that interest rates are going up. Because of that, real estate's going to get more expensive. But what we found, and I know you saw a little blip there, I think in Ventura, like where the market went down like 10%. In West Hollywood, for me, the market never went down. And what we saw instead was that people were rushing in to lock in their interest rate. There was the narrative that like interest rates are going up. It's better to buy right now and lock it in than risk paying more later. And so I'm thinking to myself, well, if interest rates are going up, how many people right now are on the sidelines thinking, well, it's better for me to lock in now while they're really low and they're going to go up in the future. So anything I get now, it's better to just lock it in. That's what I would think. And so I don't know. I would say the biggest deterrent would be if interest rates spike up out of nowhere and they go from, let's say, I think they're at like 3.2 or 3.1 or whatever they are now. If they go from that to 4, basically within a few weeks, before people have enough time to go and lock in a rate or anything like that, I could see that really softening the market.
That's a good point. Yeah, I mean, if rates spiked, that's the big danger. But let's say they don't. Let's say we rates slowly trickle up or whatever. Minus that, it's I know there are fears about like a foreclosure crisis or an eviction crisis.
Wow.
I feel like the government is just doing everything they can to bail this out and basically prevent any kind of pain.
Yeah, I mean, I've done videos on this in the past. The eviction crisis, there is no eviction. I mean, yes, I think there is going to be a small segment that is going to face eviction. But I don't think we're going to see the wave of evictions that people are talking about. And if you look at the National Multifamily Housing Council, even they have found that like 94% of tenants are still paying their rent on time or in full every month. And that's historically been always about that. Actually, it's been 95%. Now it's 94%. So we got 1% of tenants out there who are behind on their rent. And then same thing when you look at the mortgage forbearance. I mean, that's an amount that's been decreasing. I think a lot of people who don't plan to buy any real estate or getting any loans, they're smart to take forbearance. Yeah. They're smart, just get a free loan, invest that money, and then come back to it later or pay it off, save the difference. Even if they just save the difference, even if they have the money, just save the difference and then lump sum it afterwards or go and invest it or tack it on to the end of the loan. And what so many people don't understand is they think if you're behind on your mortgage, you're getting foreclosed. You're going to be a short sale. But it's like they're sitting on so much money. If they couldn't afford that mortgage, they sell and they walk away with a lot of money. So there's no way these banks are taking it. And then I also I did all this research a few months ago. There's only like 4% of properties with a mortgage that are underwater. It's such a small amount. So assuming all of those go into foreclosure at the exact same time, it's not going to make a terrible, huge difference. Because I mean, when we started in real estate, I think you slightly before me, everything was a foreclosure. And like right now, nothing is. But now it's like 1% or 0.5% of homes are a foreclosure. Back then, it was literally like, I felt like 80% of everything was distressed. Yeah. It was so crazy. Yeah, it was weird to, and I remember, like, this is 2008, 2009. You used to see in the description, not a short sale.
Yes.
Ready to sell. And the reason why they would say this, one, having a regular sale in the market was a rarity. It was not the norm. Like now it would be short sale and big, bold, back then it was like not a short sale because for short sales, they would need approval. And the banks were so backed up that selling a house like that could usually take anywhere from 6 months. And I've seen it like almost 3 years to sell a house of a short sale. People loved the not a short sale because that meant that you could just buy the house and move in like a month later.
Right.
Used to be, yeah.
They called, some agents here would list them as equity sale. And it's like, what? Somebody has equity in their What's that?
I know. Yeah. And you know what? Looking back, I was fielding so many offers. There were these, we had in my office, there were 2 Chinese companies. and they were buying every property they could in Beverly Hills. And I remember they would bus people into Beverly Hills, and there would be a group of like 20 people in a bus that came here from China. What? And they would go, and they would go from house to house to house to house as a group. And they would just discuss amongst themselves who's going to buy what house. It was nuts. And literally, I remember this too, almost every property that was listed, and this was like, they really just wanted north of Sunset, Beverly Hills, like the prime real estate area. And the guy I was working with would get, a listing there every now and then, like every, 6 months or 4 or 5 months, whatever. Within the first day, there would be an offer, all cash. It would never be at asking, by the way, but they're coming in at like, 70% of value, all cash offer, close in a week. And they would do every house that came on the market between 2009 and 11, 60, 70% of market, cash, close in a week. And they just, every property, but they would buy them. They would buy them. Not everyone would say yes, but they don't need that. But that used to be the thing. And I remember a lot of agents were loving these buyers because they were the ones that bought a lot of that market.
You needed buyers then, though. Like the challenge was finding buyers. That was the hard thing. It's like sellers, like there was no shortage of those. It's so weird. Now it's so the opposite. And I mean, it's stories like that, or even what happened in March, that has me thinking like, man, I should just one day just be like really cash heavy, just to be ready when and if something big like that happens. But part of me just feels like I'd be silly because I don't know, maybe I'm just not seeing the catalyst or what. Like, how do you feel about that? I mean, I get some cash, I know you have more cash sitting ready, and I'm not calling you silly. I'm saying like heavy cash. Like, how could I ever convince myself to go heavy cash? Have you ever thought about that? Like, I'm just gonna sell everything and sit here on a pile of cash.
No, I wouldn't sell anything. Well, the big thing for me would be the tax implications of selling, because then I would take a 50% loss on, well, not loss, but whatever my profit would be, half of that's gone.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. No, I mean, my thing is that once the money is invested, mentally for me, it's gone forever. It's like, I'm not, that money that's stashed away. I'm like the squirrel, just, get enough money, just stash it away. It's just stash it everywhere. But I don't know. Right now, I mean, I keep way too much cash. It's just a peace of mind thing for me. Yeah. Like, I just feel comfortable having a certain amount that's always there. In the event something comes up, I feel better. It just takes some of the stress away financially.
For sure. Yeah. Wow, man. Geez, man. Well, thank you, first of all, for chatting with me.
I want to keep going. I'm just getting more. It's up to you.
I mean, like, I was gonna say, I don't want to keep you. Like, if you needed to go, I mean, I could talk forever. I just want to
keep going. Let's keep going. Listen, I'm having a great time. I finished my video earlier today, so I'm kind of done with my work today. So it's either this. It's too late to play, to play music, but yeah.
Well, okay. So then I want to know when I don't know. This is too personal. Let me know. But when are you having a kid?
I can't imagine having a child right now. And I'm sure with Macy too. We got a puppy, and Bailey's a handful.
Yeah.
We got Bailey and a cat. At some point, I mean, obviously yes, but I can't imagine taking care of like another like a child, like an actual human being right now. So I just. That's too far out there for me right now. At some point, absolutely, yeah.
Are you finding is your dog more responsibility than you thought? And I'm not trying to compare a dog to a child, but I'm going to try to get these headphones working in me too. But I mean, like, has that changed your opinion? Like, has your dog now delayed that, or?
No, I don't think so. No, I wouldn't say so. Macy's really the one that takes care of Bailey. She's picked up a lot of the work for Bailey, probably more than anticipated. But so I don't really. I mean, I do feel the work, but it's always considering, like, just making sure Bailey gets taken out and she uses the bathroom and that she's fed, and even with Ramsey, I mean, there is a bit of an element that we can't just, not that we do this, but we can't just go up and leave like with a moment's notice and be gone for a week or two without making arrangements ahead of time. And like, but the same thing also could be said about Ramsey. Like, I always got to make sure that he's will be fed and someone was looking over him. So, that's what it is. I think it's just having the freedom of time right now that it doesn't make quite a lot of sense at this point.
Because you're trying to simplify. I mean, that's kind of what we started with that, about you trying to get less stress in your life. And so really this would just be adding stress to your life, huh?
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to ever think of it like, having a child, like adding stress or taking away stress. Like, I don't want it to be about that. I want it to be about like just building a family. Yeah. So I want to at least get to a point where you kind of feel like, okay, we've traveled, we've done all these things. Now is the right time. I don't know if there's ever going to be like the right time, but I think there's so many other things that we still want to do. That
would you go traveling like big time? Do you think that's something you would consider? Is like, hey, let's go hardcore and let's van life. I feel like that's something we touched on.
Yeah, I've told Macy this. Like, I really. And I think she's on board with this too. She wants the same thing as me, but being able to spend like 6 months to maybe like a year and really just put everything aside and just go and travel for a long time, really experience it. That's something I want to do. And it's a fine balancing act between like, everything with like career wise is really like everything is picked up and everything is on this like this snowball effect that just
could you bring yourself to that though? Like, would you actually like, that's the thing is like, would you get off the snowball and like actually
there has to be a point of diminishing returns. There has to be. So my thing was like going from like $1 million to $5 million. That's a pretty big quality of life difference. Going from
like net worth.
Right. But I think once you get up to the larger numbers, there becomes less of a difference of quality of life that you get. And so the importance, I think, of things like travel and experience and all of these other things start to take precedent for that.
That makes sense.
But I'm also, but there is also the fear that like I've spent so many years kind of building up to this at this point. I want to see that through. And I would have the regret of cutting that off too short without really trying to figure out like I just all the other places we could take this right now.
So would you have to see like a decline in like the channel or something to motivate that, or what would make that happen?
No, I think I've always just kind of based a lot of the things on just feeling, as weird as that sounds, just like an intuition sort of thing. Like for me going from real estate to YouTube, I knew, I just had this gut feeling that like this was the right choice, and it just couldn't explain it, but I knew deep down. And I'm sure that's going to be a feeling for me when I have that feeling where it's just like, now is a time to take this next chapter and go travel and get more experienced and just other cultures and everything else and see what it's about. But I'm sure it's going to happen at some point. And also I'm sure it's going to be just when I stop really having fun and enjoying what I do. And I don't know. It seemed to me like that. Real estate for me got to a point like that as I was transitioning over to YouTube, where it just felt monotonous, and I loved the difference of YouTube. So that's cool.
Let's see if it is. Hold on. There we go. Okay. Can you hear me again?
I hear a bit of an echo.
How's this?
Let's try it. I think you're good.
Okay, let me kick my. I gotta kick this other one. As long as if I can leave. Oh, I'll just close this tab. Okay, I think we're back. back to normal. I think. Although now I can't hear you. Hold on.
Yeah.
Oh, that's too funny. Hold on. Darn it. What happened?
Oh, this is cool. We got Jeff in the chat too. Jeff Weibo.
Sorry.
Hey, Jeff. Oh yeah, Macy says I'd love to travel vlog. That would be fun. But part of me thinks too, like if we travel, it's like, do we really want to think about a vlog? Then we'll have to take someone with us. I'll figure it out. Did we get it working, Kevin? No? I'm wondering if Kevin can't hear me. Oh, look at this. McJugger Nuggets. Kevin just gave you $10. Yeah, okay, you guys could hear me.
So,
just not
yeah,
Kevin.
no, you're fine. Hold on. Let me stop this. Get me out of here. It's Bluetooth, man. Bluetooth is like the most toxic thing ever. It's because there's so many different Bluetooth devices connected, and the Apple crap wants to like automatically connect to what you're using. So it's like bobbing back and forth between these things. It's a disaster.
Weird. All right. Well, you know what? If you put your phone up somewhere,
then I don't have to hold it. I know. This is fine. So okay. So like, could you see yourself? Here's a question. This is a good question. I think it's a good question. Would you ever do this? Would you ever just like, let's say YouTube, you're finished with YouTube and it's time to retire. Would you ever just live a life of traveling, where even if when it's time where you have children, and I know you don't like traveling because it's stressful, but I'm talking like leisure traveling, right? Where it's just like, you're just living your life. And it's like, now we're going to do 3 months in Spain. Now we're going to do 6 months in Germany. And you don't even plan it out. Like, you just do whatever the F you want, right? And then when you have a child, you homeschool that child. And for the next 18 years, you're literally just making friends in different areas around the world.
Oh, I like to be rooted.
Yeah.
I like to have my little spot to come back to. Plus, it's like, figuring out what do you do then with a cat and a dog? How does that work? No, I'd like to travel, but then have a spot to return back to.
Yeah. Because see, that's what Lauren, like, I don't think I can ever convince Lauren to do that. But like, if it was up to me, that's what I would do. Is I would just like, I can make my videos from anywhere, and I would just take the kids, homeschool them, and travel. And it's like, I feel like I could give them such a cool experience. Like, now you get to live in Germany for a bit. Now you get to experience Spain or France or whatever, and learn different languages or whatever. Maybe I'm being too like, oh, everything's just going to be perfect about that idea. And Lauren doesn't like it. Lauren likes like being grounded in one area as well. And then having like friendships and relationships is harder because you're always traveling.
I would be, I don't know, as a kid, I can't imagine like making a friend, like finally, like, I finally made my friend. And it's like a month later, oh, see ya. Trying to do a new one,
Yeah.
That would be, I don't know. I feel like it's better to have those friendships. Like, I grew up in the same area, always lived there, built, a few just lifelong friends that I've been friends with since like 7 years old. Yeah. So
that's
can't imagine not having that.
And maybe it's different for me because I didn't really have that. I came to the country as an 18-month-old or whatever, maybe it was 12 months old, doesn't matter. But I had an accent through like kindergarten, which is crazy.
I can't imagine that.
I know, no, like I would be in the kindergarten class, like, hold on, I'm sinking, doing it. It's like, no, not on a boat, And so and then my parents got divorced at 6, so it's kind of like I went from having an accent to finally normalizing, but then getting ripped out of that school because of a divorce and, then financial issues thanks to divorce and credit. And like, then we moved to another house. I meet friends because I lived there for 2 years, all these great friendships. Oh, great. Now I get torn up and I go to another community and another one and another one. Like, I think I moved like 8 or 9 times, and I'm talking about in the same like hour radius. But it was like impossible to keep friendships. So I guess in some sense, yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think travel at some point, but I don't know. I honestly think just it's naturally going to happen. I think the right moment is going to come, and just feel it. That's really what I believe. And for me, it's always been these moments where it just kind of feels like the right time. And for me, like, not leaving real estate, but really transitioning over to YouTube is just, it felt like that time. Even leaving Coldwell Banker to then go and work with the Oppenheim Group. That was a scary choice to go and try something new, even though now in hindsight, it's like, duh.
But yeah, sure.
listen, at the time, the Oppenheim Group had just opened their office. I mean, like that week. And I was the first one there. And that was a brand new thing that I was just not accustomed to at all. It's like leaving what you know. But it just felt like the right choice. So I always feel like, to make the right choice.
Wow. So, I mean, yeah, that's crazy because Coldwell's such an established brand and you went to a totally no-name brand. But was Jason with you at Coldwell?
Yeah. So I met Jason at Coldwell Banker. He joined, I think, 2010. And so his office was right next to mine. And he knew me as the kid who would always be doing all the leases. And so he would do the leases and then ask me all the questions about like, what do I do on a lease agreement? Who does this move in, move out form? What do we put in this mold disclosure? Like just random stuff like that.
Yeah, sure.
Acquaintances from that. But I was, I wouldn't say I was pretty happy at Coldwell Banker, but I would say there was a point, I don't know, 6 years, was about 6 years into it, where I felt like I had plateaued. And it was this point where, and it wasn't bad. I had everything on autopilot. I basically built up like this clientele. And I think at that point I was maybe making about 120 to 140,000 a year.
Yeah.
And how old was I? 24? Something like that.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking to myself, like this, like I am so fortunate to be in this position. Like I like everyone I work with. I've got this on autopilot and like, it's not really stressful, but why am I, and I just was unhappy. I don't know. I felt like professionally I had just plateaued and I wasn't growing. And it just felt like I was like, there's something holding me back. And so when I got the offer at the Oppenheim Group, it was a better offer. Like just on paper, I was going to make more money. Like just assuming the business stayed exactly the same, I would make more money. But it was leaving everything that was comfortable to go and work with someone new. And Jason was a ball buster. And that's what, and where I was very like lighthearted. No one took anything too seriously. But then you go to Jason, it's business. And during the day is very serious. And Jason's intimidating. And when he really gets into like what he's doing, like he has that focus about him and that professionalism that you better be on that same level. And I was like, if I leave where I'm at and go work with Jason, am I going to be like, it's just not my environment at all. And there's a chance I'd go and work with him and just make less. I don't know. There's a whole bunch of things that could have happened, but it turned out to be the best decision ever. Like within a week, I was like, I made the right choice.
Do you miss it?
Yes. And I miss certain aspects of it. I would say what do I miss? I would say there was a level of just fun there in the sense of just like we always used to get lunch every day. And that was Jason's thing. If I was in the office between 11 and like 1, he would take the entire office out to lunch every single day of the week. So, I mean, it became the running joke that like I would schedule my appointments around not doing anything for those hours, just waiting for him to be like, all right, guys, who wants lunch? So I could go get the lunch. But it was so much fun. And then we used to wrap up around like, 6, 7 p.m. Then we all used to go to the gym together. And the gym was right next door. So we would just finish up between 6 and 7, go to the gym for an hour. And then sometimes after the gym, Jason would be like, all right, want to grab some dinner? Yeah. And then we'd go to Takaya and we'd grab dinner. It was stuff fun. It was fun.
That is so cool. Yeah.
It was a blast. Yeah.
I never had that either. Like here, it must just be like Lone or Kevin or something like that. Because like as doing real estate over here, like there's no office. It's just like me, Lauren's dad was retiring and Lauren was mostly doing property management. So it's just like, I never had that office set up. I think that's cool, man.
Yeah. It was awesome because it felt like every day I'd go and get to hang out with friends. Like imagine getting paid to hang out with your friends all day. And in between hanging out with your friends, you would get to see amazing houses. And then you get that rush when the client calls you. He's like, all right, let's put up the offer. What price can we get? And then it becomes like, I'm going to call the listing agent and talk to them.
Yes.
I loved that. And
I missed that. Yeah.
Yeah, same. And then my favorite part was waiting for that DocuSign email that says completed.
Completed.
Oh, And I remember like being at the office late at night, like 10, 11 p.m., just waiting for it to say completed so I could send on the offer. There was nothing more fun than that. And then getting the accepted offer.
Oh, yeah.
I love that.
Calling your clients saying they got the deal.
Yeah. I'm going to forward it to you right now. You'll see it. 2 minutes.
Yeah. It's so fun. Like I remember I would always, like when my clients got a deal, I'd usually call them and be like, so, we've been up against multiple, and it's like the whole fun of that, right?
Yeah, you build it up.
Yeah.
I got some bad news for you. We're going to open escrow tomorrow. Congratulations.
You got a lot of paperwork to sign. Yeah. And then like people would like the joy of people getting their deal, like that real human connection of like, people would like drop their phones and scream like so excited they got a deal. It's crazy, and you don't really get that on YouTube because like I don't know how people are reacting when they're watching my videos,
Yeah, it was funny. Speaking of that, I can't imagine they would be upset I say this, but when they were filming the pilot for Selling Sunset, Mary got an accepted offer on a property and it was in multiples. And so these clients had no idea they got it. So Jason and Mary on camera were surprising the buyer that they got their offer accepted. And this is for the pilot. This never made it in, unfortunately. It was one of the best moments. Jason called up the seller with Mary on the, just next to him. And this was like a $7 million deal, like $6 million. There's a lot of money on the line.
Yeah.
And they'd won the counter and they call up and they say, hey, are you sitting down? And she goes, yeah, you got the deal. And we're expecting them, because this was like their dream home. We're expecting to be like, no way. Are you serious? Their answer on camera. Okay, thanks. Cool. All right.
That's bad.
And Jason was like, you got it. Yeah, no, I know. Okay. And then he's like, well, we'll send you all the paperwork. We can open actually, we can close it. Okay, great. Thanks. Really appreciate it. And I mean, but that was just their level of it. That's how they showed it. But just
buy the deal.
Camera, what's up?
Did they actually buy the deal?
Yeah.
Because like if I had that kind of reaction, I'd be like, this deal's getting ready to bomb.
No, they closed. But it's just sometimes you have those buyers that just don't seem excited. I had a client like that too. Yeah.
Like if you're an investor, like I'll text them like, hey. Some of the investors I work with all the time, they'd be like, oh, we got another one. I'd be like, okay, cool. Yeah, tell me where to send a deposit. Like the investors don't care, but the home buyers, really? Yeah, that's rare.
I had one where the husband didn't care at all. He never gave a reaction either way. The wife was a little bit more like, excited in it, but we just dealt with the husband. And the same thing, we got their offer accepted. It was very just, all right. Yeah, no, I appreciate it. Okay, thanks. All right. Yeah, just email it over. I'll wire tomorrow. All right, thanks. Bye. Like that's how it was.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know that I guess like right now, like if somebody's like, oh, Kevin, hey, you got another offer accepted on another wedge deal. It's like, all right, I'll send Nick over tomorrow. It's just here's another ring. Okay. Geez, I mean, like. Do you ever go back to LA though to help even? I mean, it doesn't make sense at this point anymore, does it? To even talk like.
No, I was I was giving a lot of not a lot of I was giving a lot of my own clients to Mary at the office, and her business has just exploded.
It's from Selling Sunset or all your leads?
No. Her own clients. And so, when she's busy enough with her own clients, I've been giving a lot of my business to Eric. I don't know if Eric's watching this, but yeah, Eric has been working for the Oppenheim Group for like 5 years now, and him and I were really close, and we would all go to the gym together. So I've been giving the deals to Eric, and Eric has just been crushing it with these deals lately and just closing them. So, and everyone likes Eric. So
nice. Oh, well, hey, so get the commission. What do you think about like I know what your opinion was from like 2 or 3 years ago, but what do you think about like the Redfin transition? Like, is it still the same thing in Beverly? You guys don't like it?
I don't know. Redfin. I don't think so. Usually when we get offers from Redfin agent, like at least from what I've seen, they're not taken seriously. But not really, it's because usually the type of client, especially like $3-4 million to use a Redfin
that price range. Yeah.
Usually they're not qualified. They're not like sophisticated buyers. That's to say that every buyer in the $4 million price point has to be sophisticated, but generally there's the perception that we don't take this offer as seriously. And it's a very tight-knit community in like the $3 to $10 million price point in those areas. There's maybe a few dozen agents that handle the majority of that. And you know every agent. So you know when you get a call from, let's say, Drew Fenton, his client is solid, his client is qualified, you know he's serious, you know Drew, you've known Drew for like 10 years now, you know he doesn't mess around, you know he's what he says, that's his word.
Yeah.
They got a big reputation riding on this. And people talk. So if you piss off the wrong agent, all it takes is for them to tell other people in their office, listen, he messed me around on this deal. He said he was going to get this. He didn't. He screwed me over. I took him for his word. You're dealing with relationships that extend way beyond just the deal. Yeah. And so and I think that's part of it. And sometimes too, and I've seen it as an agent where you get an offer and it's from an agent that you've worked with before and you know that they close deals. Yep. You could tell your client, I've worked with this agent before. Oh, yeah. Every deal I've done with them, they've closed it. They're an expert at softening any issues with their client. They know how to explain things to them in a way that maybe an inexperienced agent can't do. Let's say there's a foundation issue. An inexperienced agent, oh no, 50 grand, it's the end of the, but an experienced agent's been doing this for 20 years. Listen, we'll get this done. We'll get this quote. This is what it is. Ask for this credit. That's reasonable, and we're done. So I think it helps. So I think it's very much still a relationship business. And I can't see Redfin replacing that as a discount on a commission. I'm sure
that's, I mean, great answer. And I mean, we've really seen that same, I'm obviously in a lower price point with same thing with the relationships though. I mean, you nailed it there. One thing I found, and this is maybe more like 2 years ago, because really now I'm just representing myself. You know, if I go buy a deal, it's like, sometimes I'm not even representing myself anymore. I'm just like, oh, that's a good deal. You can represent me because I want the deal, you know, like I want the deal more than I care about the commission in some cases. But what I've started seeing is I've actually started in like 2019, started seeing Redfin play the relationship game. Like the big Redfin heavy hitters in my area, you know, they're coming to the broker tours. They're like integrating. So it's almost like a little virus that's integrating.
Yeah. I don't know enough about the Redfin agents to say that they can't build those relationships too.
Right.
But I don't know. Maybe I have not been as involved over the last like year and a half to really speak about it. I mean, maybe they are like, you know, assimilating themselves with one of the other agents. I don't know.
I remember like 2016, the first time, because Redfin wasn't even in my area for a long time. It was just like partner agents. There were no official agents from Redfin. They were just referral agents. And I remember the first time I saw a Redfin open house, I'm like, that's it. This is the end. The contagion is here.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I was never worried about it. Never really crossed my mind. And here's the thing too, is that like all you really need, if you want to come, like you just need like 100 clients.
Yeah.
Just over your, just 100 clients. Out of those 100, I don't know, 5 to 10 every year might come to you. 7 of them even a year. That's all you need.
Yeah.
Just 100 recurring clients over a lifetime.
If you were, let me ask you this. So let's say you were going to start totally over today. It's 2021. You're 19. You're I don't know, cropping images for an aquarium. You know, what do you do today?
I would say the stock market would be very tempting.
Really?
I think if you would ask me this like 4 years ago, I would have said drop shipping.
What?
I think, yeah. Yeah, listen, if I were starting over and it's 2016, e-commerce.
No.
If I was today, 18 years old.
2021.
Yeah. Right now, I would say the stock market.
What? How? How are you gonna? How? You got no money? Well, no, I mean like get a job.
Oh, I'd have to get. See, I'm counting the aquarium. You're saying I'm working in an aquarium, so like if I could get like $1,000,
you were working at the aquarium making $1 a picture or whatever.
Yeah, that adds up. It could be a few $100 a week. What? I could get together $2,000 and like learn the hell out of options.
Oh
like,
no! Stop! Don't no. Are you kidding?
No.
What?
Why?
You would become an options trader. You're telling me you would take your $2,000 a week and become an options trader?
When I was in high school, I had my dad open up a Scott trade account, and I wasn't playing options because I had no idea what any of this stuff was back then. But I was trading penny stocks, and that was some of the best. That was the best learning experience that I ever got. Was losing my $2,000 in penny stocks.
Well, so are you encouraging people go lose their $2,000 to get started?
Wait, looking back, not only did I have a good time, but I learned a lot. I learned a lot from doing that.
You learned not to do it, but so now here you are saying in 2021 you would do it again.
I'd probably make the same mistakes.
Okay, so would you become an agent or anything?
Okay, so we're going more of a traditional.
No, I'm just wondering. Like seriously, if that's what you do, I'm fine with that. Like, would you go down the agent path again here in 2021, or would you not?
I probably would. I don't know. It's hard to say because it's just everything was. What?
Just like why would you not just try to replicate the crap you did? Go buy some shit.
I don't know. It's hard for me to remove myself from that and imagine like. Because when I think about all of it, it's overwhelming to think about how much work I put in, and to think about doing it all over again. It's like, and it's implying too that like if I were to do it all over again today, would I do the exact same thing? And I think like back then, like YouTube was definitely not like it is today. There wasn't the access to information like we have today. And I remember back then, like for real estate, what was it? Like CNN Money, I think was like, what else could you do? Not Curbed. I don't even know if Curbed was a website back. There just wasn't the information out there today. And I feel like just people are really building themselves online. I feel like if I were to do it, I would do something online based. I feel like if I were to start over like today in 2021, I still think being an agent is great, but I don't know, just knowing what I know now and seeing the power of leverage. Yeah, I lip sync on TikTok.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think maybe where you're coming from is just like, if you had to start over, you just don't want to go down the same path again. Like, do you really want to go hold open houses again? Do you really want to go do leases again?
Yeah, I mean that was the thing that was so much fun for me. I think when everything was like brand new and
the first time, yeah.
I don't. It's hard for me to take a step back and imagine doing everything over again when, like, I don't know how many, like hundreds of open houses I've held. Oh, it's got to be hundreds. Like I held an open house every single Sunday.
Yep.
For like 7 years.
Yeah.
How many open houses is that? 52 times 7 years.
Lot. 450.
Like, a few hundred open houses, and then of the few hundred open houses, I'm putting up 8 signs. Yeah. So it's like putting up 2,100 signs, lugging them in my car, taking them out, scratching the back of the car as you're lugging in metal signs to and from. So it's
people think setting up the open house signs that's like a hassle. It's 30 minutes before and it's 30 minutes after. You know, a 3-hour open house becomes a 4-hour event.
Yeah, it's a full day thing because if my open house starts at 2, I'm setting up at 12. Make sure I got all my printouts and everything, and then it ends at 5.
There's always a straggler.
Yeah. So exactly. So it's 5 always turns into 5:30, 5:45. Then an hour to pick up signs. Now we're at 6:40. I don't get home until 7:30.
Yeah.
So it's a 7.5 hour day to hold a 3-hour open house.
Right. And then what's the school district?
Oh yeah. My favorite is when I try to get people to sign in. Like, oh, would you mind just printing your name, please? No, I'm good. or they'll just scribble their name, and then if the first few years I used to call everybody. Like before I I don't want to say I knew better, but I mean, it's probably a smart thing to do. I called everybody on Monday, the next day, and it was the most awkward thing. Hey, you stopped by my open house yesterday. I want to see what you thought of it. And
Mickey Mouse Graham.
Yeah. But I mean, listen, it worked. The truth is, it's like that stuff works. No. It was really awkward for me to do that. Did not come naturally. You call up 20 people, one of them is going to say, well, I liked it, but I'm looking for slightly different. What else are you looking for? Let me email you. Is this the correct email address for you? I'm going to send you over another, option for you. And they turn out to be a client. You sell a house. So it does work.
I mean, I calculated of all the open houses I did, each open house was probably worth about $1,300 a Sunday open house for me, which, I mean, that's as exhausting as it was. That's a really good freaking day, you know?
Yeah. No, I forget I added it up too. I've sold how many houses from open houses? It must have been like 3 or 4, which is not a lot when you really think. But
your price range.
Yeah, but when you add up the value of that, one of those was I double-ended. I think at like 1.8.
Oh gosh, nice.
From an open house. And so so when you do add it up mentally, you got to think, well, I'm making a few grand every single house or whatever that works to be. So it is a good ROI.
Oh yeah, there's no doubt about that. Yeah, okay, but social media, that's what you do. Okay, well, I mean, that's fair. And then do you think, like, if you were to start over, would you ever even consider going to a different country, or like, reverse question, if you were in a different country and you could, would you go to America?
I don't know. I'm not good at these hypotheticals.
Okay. All right.
I don't know. Yeah, no, I couldn't tell you.
No,
because I can't imagine doing anything different than what I've already done.
Okay, well then let's try this. What's your next big business beyond coffee?
I don't. That's another one. I'm not quite sure. I want to do something else. The coffee thing. Yes, I'm into that. But I kind of thinking like I gotta do what I'm good at, which I don't think is running building a business. Okay. And I feel like if I'm going to do something and I'm going to do it well, I need to be 100% into it and 100% involved. And that was for me on YouTube. I was 100% head first, every aspect of it. It was all I thought about. I would have to be the same way about a business. And I'm not at that point to dedicate to a business what I've done to YouTube. So I feel like the smartest thing for me is to start investing in these companies and being more so like a face and like advisor to them, focusing on the video aspect. Mm-hmm. So I think I'd be really good at explaining concepts in a way that people understand, make them interesting, but then on the side, invest that money into companies that I really believe in and take equity. So
if you could get pre-IPO Robinhood, would you do it?
I heard they're looking to value and this is online, that their expected IPO value is like $60 billion. Oh
my gosh.
Which I both believe it and I think it's expensive.
Well, Coinbase, they're thinking, isn't it like 100 for Coinbase?
Yeah.
Like if Coinbase can get 100 and Robinhood adds wallets.
Now, before we go to that, I mean, in terms of like the next step for me, I really believe it's investing in the companies.
Okay.
Being a face of it. I really want to be an advisor. I want someone else to build the bit. Like Yada Bank was a good example of this, I feel like, for me, where they sleep, eat, think everything Yada Bank.
Yeah.
And I'm a happy user of them. And anytime I think of something, I'm emailing them. And they're always emailing me back immediately. Like, I come up with these ideas. Can we make this happen? What do you think of this? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I am really into it. Like, I like the idea.
Why aren't you on like the board then? Like, I mean, you're giving, I feel like, free advice here.
Oh, I invested in them and I have equity in them.
Yeah, but I mean, like, you couldn't. I don't know. You couldn't have invested that much to where it's worth all this free advice.
I don't care. I mean, listen, I don't have any other company who's like hounding me for an online savings account for ideas. So I may as well do everything I can to help build Yada up and make it something nice. Code Graham when you sign up.
Why don't you make your own bank?
Again, so that's the issue where we get with the work aspect of that. I feel like that's a full-time thing to build up a business like that.
Yeah.
So I'd rather leave that to somebody who's good at that, and I focus on what I'm good at. And I feel like if I play to my strengths, which I feel like is a bit of the creative aspect in terms of the videos and the ideas, less about like the implementation of building a business. I don't want the day-to-day aspects of that. But that's what I feel like to me would be where this would go. What was the other question of this? There's another thing I said I was going to come back on. Oh yeah, the Robinhood. And that's the other thing. When it comes to these fintech businesses, I can't tell right now if we're so overpriced for these companies or if this is still the tip of the iceberg. I think it can go either way because on one hand, valuations are through the roof because of low interest rates.
Yep.
But if interest rates start going up, how is that going to impact these companies? But then again, it's so new. And I think like fintech is something that every millennial is going to be on an app. There's no way that millennials are going to be moving from business to business. Like once you're with a company, chances are that company has the right to have you for basically the rest of your life. That's why people still use Wells Fargo. I think they've done it for so long. And it's like, well, I'm not going to switch. Yeah. So I don't know. I think it's a huge opportunity, but I also feel like, is it a hype thing? Maybe a little bit, but I don't know. I'd like to think that we're still like, we've got room to 10x from here for a lot of these fintech companies.
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine this decade just not being green, for stocks and the investments we're making now. Like, that's why I've been so all in, because I just believe that this decade's gonna be so great. But I mean, we could be wrong.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. Time will tell, but who knows?
Yeah, that's weird. So, okay, what about your family? Are you moving them to Vegas?
No, I think they're happy here. I've told my dad he's more than welcome to come stay at the house anytime, experience it. I think people have this connotation of Vegas where they just think the Strip.
Yeah, of course.
They just think like, oh, we're gonna go to but once you get into the suburbs of Los, it's really just, it's a lovely community. It's really nice. It's quiet. It's peaceful. Everyone is so friendly. So I think for a lot of people, it's getting over that hurdle that Vegas is not this party city 24/7. I mean, it can be if you want it to be, but a lot of the areas are very just nice.
Yeah.
So I don't think so. I think they're happy in California.
Okay.
But Vegas is not far away either. So it's not like, you have to get in a plane. I mean, literally something where you could text me at 8 a.m. and I could see you at 12. So it's not like, it's not a big deal.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, how often are you going back and forth?
It's whenever. I mean, there is no real schedule. It's just if something, if we're going to go back, we go back, and there really is no schedule.
What's this thing with dumb money? Like find a YouTuber or whatever, and you were like the face of this or something?
Oh, I don't think I was the face of that. They wanted me to review video submissions to take over for their channel. I'm mixed about that. So they had the Dumb Money channel that just hit 100,000 subscribers, and they want to give that away to. They want to pick, I think, like 3 different people who can make videos for that channel, so they could become like a BuzzFeed for like finance. But I'm thinking like, I don't know. There's a bit of a hurdle, like a learning curve when you're making YouTube videos. That like you almost it does you a disservice to throw you in front of so many people who don't know you, because then you get people like automatically, like some people just aren't gonna like you. Yeah. But then maybe they like the other guy, so they stop watching the first guy, and then they watch the second, or they hate the second when they like the first one, so they're only gonna watch like a third of the videos on there, and then it hurts the algorithm. And then then they get frustrated, because that's the worst when you haven't built up your own audience.
Yeah.
then it's just, you get just negative feedback and a whole bunch of stuff. So, and it's discouraging.
I feel like we almost, as YouTubers, and I don't know, maybe I think feel like you probably connect with your audience faster than I do, but I always look at it as it's like, you gotta like grow and connect with your audience like you're building a relationship, right? You can't just like, people don't usually, I think, like you the first time they watch you. But then they're like, okay, guy's okay or whatever. Then they watch you again and again and again. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, like I jive with these things, all right, or they don't, right? And then they stop watching you. And so, wouldn't you say that like that's probably true of if you just get thrown into a new channel like that?
Definitely. And that was one of the things for me. I didn't have a viral video, I think, for almost 2 years.
Yeah.
2 years. And I had some do well and some did like got pushed. And I'm talking like a few 100,000 view range.
Oh, but your freaking wholesale, the We Buy Houses yellow sign. We posted that together, and where were we? I don't even know where we were. Some beautiful resort. But I remember you posting that, and that thing took off, man.
Yeah. I remember Jeremy texted, and this is before like Jeremy and I were like, we're all friends. I think I maybe met Jeremy once, but he texted me afterwards. Great thumbnail. That got my attention. I watched it. Yeah, I remember that. But yeah, I had never really gotten like a big hit, like to a large scale. But and that really helped, I think, because then you were able to get people slowly trickle in and get to know you, and that became your foundation, and they really helped support the channel and give you that encouragement. Because especially when you're growing, I got so many people that said like I was a scam artist, that I was fake, that would just how many people said like I was a D-bag. So many just
punch
awful
in the face.
Yeah. I don't know why. I just don't like this guy. I don't know why. Like, I just got a bad feeling. There's like a lot of comments like that. But when you grow slowly, it's like, you get those. But overwhelmingly, people are really supportive, and like it's so nice to go to the comments and like have people really enjoy it. And listen, if there's something you could improve on, by all means, I listen to those comments where they're like, hey man, here's just like, I've noticed this, if we could change it, like, and it's coming from a good place. I listen to everything. And it's nice to have that feedback and to hear that. But yeah, when you're thrown in front of a whole bunch of people, it's just like sharks. And I feel like people love, as soon as they smell blood, they all just blah, 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 they just go crazy. And I think just everyone just gets like excited over like, oh, yes, we got something.
Exposed.
Remember that used to work. It's crazy too on YouTube that what used to work like a few years ago doesn't work anymore today. It used to be you put exposed in the title 4 years ago, exposed in the title, instant 100K views, instant, on a brand new channel.
Yeah. No, I remember. I know. I have a whole exposed playlist.
Yep. So great. But yeah, anyway, so that's why I really believe in terms of growing a channel, it's better to have slow growth. And just you just want consistency. As long as you are consistently growing and you look at it, and I think it's important to look at it over like a 3 to 6 month period, because everyone has these like ups and downs, and like month over month, I've had months where it's like down 50%. Month over month, and it's like, oh, what am I doing wrong? But when you look over a year, then it's like, okay, I'm still growing.
It's up,
So as long as the trend is upwards, I think that's all that matters, or just something consistent.
Why don't you post more on your main channel?
I can't. Physically, I can't.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be like I could barely post the 3 videos a week on the main channel.
Is it just because you're putting so much editing into them, or what is it?
Planning.
Yeah.
It's just planning. Listen, if you gave me a topic every day to plan, film, and edit, I could probably get 4 videos out a week.
Oh, wow. Okay.
If you gave me like, this is going to be a number 1, talk about this, I would do it. The hardest part, sitting there sometimes for an entire day, figuring out what to talk about. It's
doing the research, the topic, because there's so many things we can talk about, but like, I mean, oftentimes we'll see comments and like, oh, a lot of these are great ideas, but they're just not going to perform, you know?
Yeah, and that's the issue too, is that some people they will always comment, Graham, we want you to make a video about investing for beginners and buying their first house using a VA loan, and tell me about it. But I know if I make a video like that, it bombs and it throws off the video, like all the videos for the rest of the week. And so like now there's so much riding on the line that there's a pressure to keep posting videos that would do well. Right. And I still maintain, if you have 2 bad videos in a row, your views decline like 30%. If you
see, I disagree with you on that. I think jaded, man.
You post so often. I feel like I listen, I think, here's my theory here. Okay. Tinfoil hat. Different channels have different algorithms.
Okay.
And your algorithm, I think, has been set to your posting schedule and what you're doing. I think my algorithm is set to what I'm doing. Okay. And I feel like it's a bit like, imagine tolerance to, let's say, caffeine. If you're drinking a lot of caffeine, your body's become tolerant to it versus, let's say, somebody else who they've never had coffee in their life and they're going to react differently to it. I think the algorithm is like that. I think different like this is how some channels they just post once a month, and those once a month blow up. The biggest thing. Mark Rober's a perfect example. Like he posts once a month, every video is viral.
Yeah, but I mean, like he's the amount of value in his videos is so good. Like science, or like they're so good, like so interesting, so clickable, right? But like I mean, you know, even I was talking to Shelby Church earlier. I'm like, if I did 2 a month and then one of them bombed, I feel like I'd want to like hurt myself. You know, that's bad. I shouldn't even say that as an example, but like that, it would just eat me up. You know, like here, if I post a video and it bombs, by the time I even realize it's bombed, the next one's already exporting.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. I think the algorithm is now started to predict your schedule and your momentum and how many views you get per video. I think the algorithm is so smart. And I think it takes so many other things into consideration of like posting schedule, consistency. I even think, again, this is my thinking, sometimes it even knows when you have a video scheduled to post. And it will work around that scheduled posting in terms of bringing more people to your videos.
I don't know, man. You were very superstitious.
I've experimented with leaving videos unlisted until like 10 minutes before posting, with the expectation that I think the algorithm sets me on a certain amount of views. And if it doesn't think I'm going to post, it raises those views to a certain minimum, versus when it knows I'm going to post, it averages it out. So I get less views before the posting.
Jeez, man, you must stress yourself out so freaking much about this thing.
It's funny. I also have a specific place I have to sit when posting. I think this is borderline, what do you call it? OCD.
Yeah.
I wouldn't call it I wouldn't say it's like too bad. But I would say within reason. I sat with Jack out in the living room for one of our postings, and because we didn't have good Wi-Fi in the office. And I told Jack, like, listen, this is going to screw us up. And well, let's do this and let's test this out. The video was a 10.
Shut up.
The video was a 10. Yeah, because we didn't sit in our normal seats. So
which is bad for anybody watching. That's bad. That's 10 out of 10 is the worst. So it's reverse. 1 out of 10 is the best. 10 out of 10 is the worst.
Yeah, so it was a 10 out of 10. So we moved back to the office, changed the title thumbnail. The video did better. But yeah, but we also we had a thing too where we tried out a new seating arrangement. This was at the house in West LA, in the dining room. And we had never sat there before, but I posted a video, and this is the video with Pokimane that I spent forever on. And within a few minutes, it got demonetized. There was a little clip of music.
I remember that. We talked about that.
Yep. That was it, but got demonetized. I'm like, it was because I sat in that seat in the dining room. So we deleted the video, re-uploaded it, and then I sat down in the guest house.
Dude,
and then it did well.
You changed the title.
No. I got it. I got to be in my spot. I got to be in my spot. You know.
See, for me, Maybe I just have too much faith in the algo, but I believe that if the video content is valuable and people deem it to be, wow, this is useful content, this is interesting, I want to share this content. It could be like, sure, title, thumbnail matter to some extent, but the video will do well. The video will do as well as it's supposed to do for the impact that content is having, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't know. I think
totally disagree. Okay.
I don't know. Title, thumbnail, I think is everything.
Of course.
Really
title, thumbnails. But you, okay, if title, thumbnail is everything, well, who cares where you sit then?
Because sometimes if I sit in the wrong spot, I'm not going to think of the best title, thumbnail.
Okay.
So
yes,
like
title, thumbnail helps. Sure, that's true. I mean, it's like what you said on the podcast in November. Like, if you do a title that's like, the market's going to be fine, nobody's going to click on it. But you do a title of, is this going to crash the market or whatever? It's going to do 10 times better.
Yeah, and it's interesting too. I was talking with Andre the other day. I mean, even like the stock market crash videos.
Yeah.
That we've I think exhausted them.
We have kind of exhausted those, yes.
And the reality is that like the truth, just like with anything, unfortunately, is that when you find something that works,
yes, it ends.
you keep doing more of it, and then everyone else keeps doing more of it until it doesn't work anymore. And then there's a weird in between where we're trying to figure out what else to do until we find the next one, and then it's. That's just the reality of it. Yeah.
Neo was like the most popular thing to talk about before, like I feel like the GameStop stuff, right?
Yeah.
And now nobody's talking about Neo. Nobody cares about Neo anymore.
Blast of the past. It used to be passive income. Remember that?
Oh my gosh. Passive
and before
income.
that,
7 ways, 6 ways.
Yeah, passive income.
100, whatever.
Yeah, and before that, it was how to be a millionaire. Remember that?
Well, you did that, the tax-free millionaire, man. That just nailed it. But then millionaire died. You know, you can't use millionaire anymore.
No. So it's interesting to see when you go back through all the trends. Every trend lasts between 3 and 6 months.
Yeah.
Everyone uses it. Everyone exhausts it, and then it moves on. But it's a cool evolution of just, you could see where the attention is going and what's getting pushed and why. And I've noticed too, it always starts with one video getting pushed from one of us. Will put the video gets pushed, and then we all latch on.
Yep, and then it becomes like a race between us.
Yeah.
When are you going back to credit cards?
That would be a great topic that I probably should do. The last few have not done that. The thing with credit cards, they do well over a year, but they don't do well initially. So I don't know. In terms of money, oddly enough, the credit card videos, even though they do some of the worst in terms of performance-wise, make the most in terms of ad. Yeah, no, that one. I think the 5 best credit cards of 2021 still pulls in like $2,500 a month.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, it's nuts, and it doesn't. I think it gets maybe like 40,000 views a month, something like that. It's absurd, but they don't perform well. So I think if there's something newsworthy or some new card that comes out that's getting a lot of it, I'll do it. But it's the same list. I mean, it's the same 5 cards. Not much has changed. There's not a lot of movement right now in credit cards.
No, yeah, I mean, nobody's out spending. I mean, maybe soon it'll be like the crypto stuff or whatever. Like, what do you think? What's your take on this? Like, you know, you could put your money into, they say, the USDC or whatever, the stable coin of the dollar, right? And they'll pay you like 8 to 10% interest or whatever. What's your take on that? Like, why not just take your cash and put it in that?
I was just talking to Jeremy about this, and
I know because I have everything tapped.
Yeah, I don't get it. I don't get how it works, and that's the truth. So let's say USDC, they're paying 9% right now.
Okay.
I don't understand how they're able to pay 9%, and I don't understand who's regulating that they can't just print more USDC to pay you back the 9%.
I know.
And then how do we know that's not? Now people could say the same thing about the dollar, sure, But how do I know I'm not just taking dollars, putting it in USDC? They're printing off more of it to pay you back. I don't understand it. Do you?
I mean, I think that's where, I mean, I somewhat get it. You know, just it's all in the financing and the lending of this, and it's basically like hard money, but it makes me nervous. Huh?
Who's getting the loans? I don't know a single. I know they say they loan out, but who's getting a 20% loan to give them?
So apparently, it's small and medium-sized mom and pop shops and businesses that take out the large and the expensive loans, which sounds risky, right? But then on top of that, it's also these clearing firms that I guess need all this liquidity. So let's say you get Tesla wants to buy Bitcoin. Okay, crap, we got to come up with $1.5 billion worth of Bitcoin. So then they call up the clearing firms. They're like, yo, we got an order coming in, $1.5 billion of Bitcoin. Okay, crap. Well, now we got to go find that first. So because they want to be able to promise Tesla, okay, we're going to get you, all that Bitcoin at 35K, let's say, at whatever the market price is at the time. So it's not like, sure, we'll be able to execute $100,000 or $100 million at 35, the next 100 million at 38, the next 100 million at 42, because they would jack the price, right? So they're trying to secure this $1.5 billion. This is just my understanding of it. I could be wrong, but they're trying to secure this $1.5 billion. So what happens is all these, like the BlockFis and the Voyagers, they're like, oh, okay, well, we'll put in, 300 mil worth. And they're all just like short-term loans, basically, for like a week or 2 weeks until like the volume catches up and these get paid off again. And then another whale comes in and then it happens again. And it's just all these like week-to-week loans. I feel like that's the big portion. I think the small portion is like the small mom and pop businesses that want crypto-backed, currency businesses out of like other countries and they can't get lending or whatever. But that big corporate liquidity thing, I think that's where it's coming from. And that'll all balance out once there's more of a market for all.
I still don't get it. Listen, at 9%, why do they need my money? Why do they need Graham's money for that?
Well, because look at how many people are buying and holding. Like how many people are buying and holding? Like you put your money over, if you put your crypto at BlockFi and then they lend it out, that's how they're paying you the interest. If you had that crypto tied up at on cold storage, where you put it on your USB drive or whatever, and then you put it in your drawer, that is not liquidity. Like that money can't be used to transact. Whereas you take the 6% interest or whatever from BlockFi, and now BlockFi can take your money and go, hey, we'll give you Graham's Bitcoin for 2 weeks as part of this $1.5 billion that Tesla needs. I think that's where it's coming from. I think that's the bulk of it is liquidity. It just isn't there. There's just not enough of it to buy and sell right now.
I think if it was truly amazing and truly risk-free, 9%, the big guys would be doing that. They wouldn't be giving it to us.
Well, that's what I thought too. I'm like, I asked the CEO of Voyager. I go, why doesn't like an Apple come in and just park $100 billion of cash into USDC and make $9 billion a year in interest, right? And his answer was, yeah, I mean, they could do that. And then I'm like, but then the interest rate would go down, right? And he's like, oh yeah, like almost certainly the rate would go down. Well, sure, because now all of a sudden there's so much more in the system, so it would probably just drive the interest rate down to like 1%. I don't know, I'm guessing, right?
I don't understand it.
Yeah. Well,
I still I know you explained it in probably the best way you can. I still just don't get it.
But you're taking an explanation from somebody like I've talked to BlockFi CEO, I talked to the Voyager CEO twice. I've talked to ARK Invest's crypto person on this. I'm trying to understand it too. And I'm trying to give you a synthesis, but I have to be transparent. I still don't fully get it either. When I hear 9% on my USDC, I instantly think risk. That's what I think.
I'm telling you, what I think with no proof whatsoever is that it could be similar to Tether, where there's no real proof that each Tether is back to $1. There's nothing stopping me from being like, all right, I'm going to come out with my G coin here. Every G coin is backed by $1. I'm going to pay you 10%.
Yeah.
But meanwhile, I'm just printing more G coins. G coins are worthless. They're worthless. but I could give you 10% back in G coins and say every G coin is backed by $1 and hope that people tie up enough money in G coins that I could keep paying people back. You know,
you just described a Ponzi scheme.
Right. But who's to say that's not this? You know,
we don't know.
Everyone doesn't cash at the same time.
We don't know. It's not regulated.
Right. So, you know, I don't know. I feel like if I were to throw $100,000 in there, that would be about how much I would be willing to risk.
Yeah, I mean, that's 50% of your net worth. That's about right.
Yeah, 100% of my net worth. But
I get what you're saying. Yeah, you put a small fraction in, like, okay, cool. But then at that point, it's like, is it even worth it? You know, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm thinking, well, probably for $9,000 a year, 9%. And here's the thing: it's like, what would cause it to? I don't feel like it's gone mainstream enough yet to risk like having a BitConnect situation.
Yeah,
BitConnect worked for like 2 years before it started getting too popular. And then when everything kind of collapsed, and then all of a sudden there's some regulation around there, people start sniffing around. We all saw it coming. I mean, we knew.
And that's what makes me nervous is the whole crypto thing could literally evaporate overnight. Like there is nothing to say that all of crypto could not just literally, and I know it's very unpopular. There's nothing to say that all of it could not just go to zero.
What would cause that?
Well, okay, so here's an example. Let's say Bitcoin's at 100K. Okay, so Bitcoin's at 100. Now you get, let's say, 20% of all Bitcoins margined up, leveraged somewhere. And the BlockFi's in this, they've got all these commitments to pay all this interest and stuff. And they say, we're going to start margin calling people at 35K. And then what happens is this is just a thought of inflation does not happen. Inflation does not manifest. We go into this booming economy and it's like, shoot, there's no inflation. Okay. And then all of a sudden, Bitcoin goes from, 100K to 70. Okay, no big deal. Like, we're hodlers, no big deal. Then it goes to 50. Then it goes to 35. Uh-oh, now the margin calls happen, right? You get the margin calls. Now with the margin calls, you start getting bankruptcies and liquidations of people who have a lot of their net worth tied up in margin, in cryptocurrency. Well, that's going to drive the price down even more because you have more people now. Holy crap. Now this 9% interest, now USDC, for example, is at risk of collapse because BlockFi can't pay what they promised anymore. So now all of a sudden people are like, okay, well, Bitcoin's collapsing. I got to get my money out of USDC. So what happens if you're like, let's say you put all your money right now, Graham, into USDC and you're like, I got to get it all out because Bitcoin's going down. BlockFi can't pay me the 9% anymore. I don't know if they're just printing money to pay me that interest on USDC. They say they're not. So now you're like, okay, transfer all my money out, but it's still margined up. And now there's literally a run on not the banks, but the BlockFi's, the Voyagers and all this stuff. And the stuff literally collapses because people are running to get their money out. And it becomes a modern day bank run. And the entire crypto environment just vanishes overnight. And I mean, sure, maybe it'll come back or whatever. But what's going to be insulated is, I mean, obviously, I think that is what I just explained. I think is a much greater chance of happening than like real estate's not going to go to zero. Like stocks, the S&P 500 is not going to go to zero. But that scenario right here with this weird, like this margin and then people freaking out and then delays in transferring and then all these obligations. Anytime there's an obligation, there's a risk of default, and the whole thing could collapse under that. Especially with with Bitcoin, at least you have the proof of work. But with Ethereum, they're talking about staking, right? Which is basically the way we prove that Ethereum has value is because somebody else is putting up their Ethereum as collateral. Well, what if that now, that whole system just collapsed as in the scenario I just described on Bitcoin transfers over to something like Ethereum, which is just based on the other underlying value of Ethereum. I mean, it's lent against itself. You know,
this stuff is so complicated.
It's so complicated, but you see what I'm saying? Like, that could happen. It could happen. All cryptocurrency could go to zero. I'm not saying I believe it's going to happen, but it could happen.
Well, that's why I think I keep it to under 5%.
Yeah.
So if that 5% goes to zero, so my net worth dropped 5%.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So, but that makes me like, part of me is concerned that there are a lot of people that will put a lot of their net worth as a percentage into crypto. Now, again, I'm bullish. Like, I love the technology. I'm bullish on the technology. I'm like bullish on all the ideas behind it, supporting it. I love it. I got money in Bitcoin, you know, that's the only crypto I've got, you know, I don't know, like what, 800 grand or something like that. Okay. Like, if that went away, it's going to hurt. It's going to suck. But, you know, if I put a bunch of money, if I put 10 grand into Bitcoin, let's say 2 years ago, and now all of a sudden my 10 grand is, I don't know, 500 grand, let's say, I might be tempted to just have my entire net worth in crypto because it's treated me so well.
How much do you want in crypto? What percentage?
No more than 10%.
Okay.
But like, probably not, like, it would have to be, like you had mentioned, appreciated, like appreciated value. So for example, if let's say tomorrow my position in Bitcoin doubled and the thing went to like 120, there's part of me that would start saying, okay, well, I fundamentally do not believe we are going to see this rampant inflation. And if the catalyst for a doubling for Bitcoin over the next 3 months is people freaking out about hyperinflation, then I have to be consistent with my own beliefs. And even if I'm wrong, I'll be consistent with it. I'll probably sell a good chunk of it.
And you'll let your members know in the private group, right?
Of course.
I love the plugs, by the way. You're pulling a Ricky in every episode. This subtle plug. Every single episode.
You got to plug your crap more, man. And I'm not saying crap and like, I mean your stuff. I'm not saying your stuff. I think your stuff is great. You know what I mean?
I know. You know, it's funny. I stopped promoting. Well, I didn't stop. I haven't promoted the YouTube program in probably 5 months, 6 months.
Why?
It was Black Friday. I don't know. It's just, and then I honestly, like, I just, I don't know. Just didn't do it. And I went on Teachable and I looked at the sales in terms of like when I mentioned it and when I didn't mention it. And yeah, the sales have been steadily going down since the last mention. And then I just, for fun on the second channel, I mentioned it again. Wow. I was blown away.
That's what I'm saying.
Spike up. And since then, it's been quite consistent over the last like week. Goes to show, I mean, you do have to consistently mention it. I don't know. Part of me feels awkward doing like too many mentions. I don't know. I got to get over that. It's a mental thing.
No, and I get that.
I think it's funny. Every time you'd be like, oh yeah, so I sold this, but you guys already know about that who are in my private group this morning. We're talking about that. If you're in my live stream, it's 38% off, which is any soon, by the way. Like little stuff like that. I think it's funny.
Yeah. And that's a lot of work too. I mean, just like people think I post a lot on YouTube, but they don't realize that I'm also on that. Like, sometimes it's usually been consistent. It's been like an hour, and it's answering a ton of questions, rapid fire, and I enjoy it. But like, I'm literally filming all freaking day long, you know, when you consider that too. I feel like sometimes I'm going from like, wake up, live stream, make a video, live stream, make a video, live stream, make a video, live stream. It's nuts.
Gosh, I don't know how you do it.
Yeah. You know, here's a comment. Somebody spent $5 to say, can't crash Ethereum proof of stake. The staking it a lockup of literally millions already. It's locked value of protection. Look, I appreciate that kind of enthusiasm, right? That's great. But anytime somebody tells me it can't happen, I get skeptical because it hasn't been proven, right? Like I was on Twitter the other day and I asked something about why are you investing in Bitcoin? And a ton of the comments were like, because it's going up. That makes me nervous. Like that is not a reason to invest in something. Like, please tell me, like, okay, tell me why you think Tesla's going to $30. That's fine. I want to hear your thesis. Tell me why you think Tesla's going to 2,000. I want to hear your thesis. But to tell me you're buying it because it's going up or because it's going to the moon is not a valid reason to invest in something. And the problem is it's been working. But you know, it does make me nervous.
I get that. No. What do you think about GameStop? People are still waiting on the short squeeze.
The short squeeze has been happening. We're in the second round of the short squeeze. That's what we've been seeing every freaking day. You know, the short interest on GameStop, and I've almost updated every day in Bloomberg. I'll look at the short interest, and it's like, okay, I saw it at 140. I saw it go to 60 in January. Then we get this second run in Feb because it wasn't done yet. At the end of Feb and March, we see it go from 65% short to 45% to 30%. I think it's at like 19% short right now. Like when we get to like Tesla levels where it's 7% short, I think it's going to deflate like a balloon.
Yep, I can see that.
And don't get me wrong, I love it. I want retail to win, but I also don't want people to you know, because there are a lot of people. This happened after January. After January, we had a ton of freaking people. You know, the first couple weeks of February after GameStop crashed, people were like, oh my God, I just lost all my money. I lost all my net worth. I can't believe I bought it at 400 or whatever, and sold it at 40. You know, like that's the kind of crap I don't want to hear. Like it's one thing if you put in, you know, like a tenth of your percent of your net worth, or even 10% of your net worth. But the all-in mentality that we have seen a lot of, unfortunately, and look, Deep F and Value made a lot of freaking money, but I worry it does set people up for that all-in mentality, and I think a lot of people are going to get burned. Not necessarily just on GameStop, but it sets up the YOLOs on other things.
Right. I got two questions, and I think we should probably wrap up here. One, what is the longest live stream you've done with someone before?
With someone?
Yeah, like one of these. What's the longest live stream you've done with a person?
Well, because with not with somebody was like 10 hours, right? I think that's the Capitol riots.
I want to know if this is the longest one you've done.
I think you just hit that record. I'll find out here. Actually, it's going to be easier if I do it over. I'm pretty sure this is the longest one, but I'll find out. Because the other one I did was really, really risque. I did one with somebody who has very strong political beliefs, and ours was almost 3 hours. Which I want to make sure I balance that out and get like the opposite of that person, because I try to stay. You know, I think people even in the comments said like, "Oh, Kevin's 100% neutral," and that's crazy. You stay through it. That's my goal. I just think of it as practice. But I was also, you know, I like hearing people's perspectives like this, and I'm pulling some. Like this morning, I had the, you know, somebody on who was very, very, very bullish on gold. And I don't have to agree with everything they say, but I'm interested. I like hearing people's different ideas. Okay, so Dave Lee was 2 hours and 53 minutes. We are at 2 hours and 52 minutes right now.
We're going to beat that.
All right, let's end it. I got to end it, man. No, I won't do that.
No, the other question I wanted to ask is about Jeremy.
Okay, one sec. Hold on. Let me just look. Yeah. Okay, so 2 hours 53. Oh, okay. So Lauren, not my wife Lauren, the other Lauren, was 2 hours and 45 minutes. So if we had gone another 7 minutes on hers, she would have had it. But no, you've just dethroned it. Yeah. So honestly, we should go for another 7 minutes. You should be the first 3 hour one.
Deal. All right. So we'll end in 7 minutes. But so Jeremy.
Yeah.
So Jeremy and Tattooed Chef. How do you feel about this?
I like Tattooed Chef. I think it's been blown out of proportion. Like I sold like $1.5 million worth of stocks. February 9th was the first like 500K, and then another $1 million was on February 16th. Because I was just nervous. I'm like, I'm too high in margin. And you know, it was a stroke of luck, that feeling, because the market started selling off on February 19th, right? So freaking luck right there, right? part of that was like $100,000 of tattooed chef. It was probably somewhere around, it was actually more like 150 grand. It was somewhere around 70% of my TTCF holding. I sold that profitably for like 24.50 or something like that. I sold that. I sold, like some Charge Point, which I got lucky because that sold off after the merger hardcore. Some QuantumScape, like some of these things that I just had these small positions in and relative of the portfolio. And I was just getting a little pissed off because I'd look at my portfolio and I'm like, dude, I have too many stocks. I can't keep up with all this crap. It's too much. It's too much. Mm-hmm. And like, I personally consider myself, I'm not an expert, but very well versed in EV, e-commerce, and I'm talking like Etsy, Amazon, Apple. Like that's my space. That's my that's like my bread and butter is electric vehicles, Apple, Etsy, Redfin, like the e-commerce revolution. I love it. I'm passionate about it. I didn't have that same flame for TTCF. Now I had it very, very strongly at first. And it was just sort of that flame that started going out. I stopped eating the food. I grew tired of the food. That started making me question the longevity of other people who were hyped up on it. Because the thing is, look, when you first buy into the stock, you're gung-ho. And anybody who's saying even one bad thing about your stock is an a-hole and you hate them, right? And I don't dislike the stock. Like, I'm not telling people to sell the stock. I just think where I was in margin, I needed to pick stuff to sell off. That was one of the things I sold off. I would rather take that money and like throw it into Tesla. Oh, sorry. Hold on. There we go. I'd rather take that money and throw it into Tesla at even 590 or 530 or 650 or whatever, which I just bought like another 80 grand of Tesla. I over the last month I've bought during these dips, I bought $1 million worth of Tesla. I've bought more money in newer stocks like Matterport than I would have ever had in TTCF. So yeah, okay, I had 200 grand, or I put 150 grand into Tattoo Chef at 19, turned it into 220 or something, sold a bunch. But I get my Matterport comes on the deck. I put 500 grand into the thing. So it's like different levels of bullishness, different levels of enthusiasm. Doesn't mean, it's not like I'm shorting it. It's not like I have a war and like a vendetta against anybody against such. Look, if I was going to invest in a frozen food company, it'd be Tattoo Chef, hands down.
Now, what would you say about, let's say, not having the track record? How much importance do you say is that you've been doing this consistently for so many years with the track record beyond, let's say, a year or two?
Oh, yeah. Well, I would say that my personality, nothing has changed in the way that I buy stocks. In fact, when we look up my original accounts, my old TD Ameritrades, my HSAs, my health savings accounts, my retirement accounts, when you go in there, it's the same stuff I freaking preach. It's Redfin, it's Apple, it's Tesla, and they're concentrated positions. And this is what I teach is I think if you're younger and you have this appetite to be in the market for the next 20, 30, 40 years, you concentrate, you pick your top 6 to 10 holdings and you get in. When it dips, you buy more. It's just not that hard. You don't need the money, buy it. Like, reverse the psychology. Like, I was talking to my father-in-law about this. If you look at real estate, or if you look at stocks like real estate, what happens when you look at stocks like real estate? Real estate prices fall. You don't panic. You go, oh, so I could buy some cheap real estate. Like, an appraiser tells you your house is worth less. You give them the middle finger and you call a different appraiser, Like, the stock market, somebody goes, oh, Kevin, today your Tesla's not 800, it's 600. But people are like, it's stupid. It's so stupid. The stock market is the evolution of the human psychology, and it's the stupidity of human psychology. And it just is what it is. You look at ARK Invest. People sell ARK Invest every day it's red, and people buy ARK Invest every day it's green. Well, the green already happened, you dummy. You should have reversed that. So okay, track record. I'm an open book. I mean, people can look at, if they go and type into YouTube, meet Kevin Net Worth or whatever, I show my track record. What I do is what I say is what I do. You know, you go through my, I show, like, this is when I bought Apple stock. This is when I bought my first house. This is when I bought my next house. This is, you know, like, I remember before the pandemic, I felt so bad because I made this video analyzing Tesla stock, and I bought $50,000 of Tesla stock for like $905 pre-split. And you sold that day for like $925.
Yeah.
I got railed on for like 2 or 3 months, man.
I remember
like,
it dropped.
Yeah, because it dropped to like 780 or something like that. And I got railed on so much. In fact, there's a comment. If people go to that video now, there was a comment. And the guy goes, somebody leaves a comment like, watching this the next day, Tesla stock down 10% or something like that. And it says comment 1 year ago. And then the very next comment now under that, it's like a reply to that, is from actually like 3 weeks ago. And somebody's like, watching this now at $4,000 or whatever, you know, price adjusted. And it goes to show, like, my track record is there. Like, it's transparent. Look, did I have less money then? Of course, but I did the same crap.
That was a fun time. I remember when I sold the day later. I sold like at the peak.
You did.
Of the time.
And I'm like, you know what I said to Lauren? I'm like, there's freaking Graham again, one-upping me again. This guy always gets it.
There we go. Yeah, I felt like a genius. I felt like I did it. Like, I somehow beat the market. I'm a genius.
Well,
but yeah, sure enough.
I made the and I've told you this before. Like, I talked about the Tesla tax benefit thing on my Tesla, right? Like probably 6 months before yours, and it was like, what was it? Mine was how to save $23,000 on a Tesla or whatever. And it was literally the same idea, right? But and I'm not saying you copied me, because this was in the community, right? It's not like a secret. But you branded this as this, like, you reverse engineered it rather than saving 23 grand. It's how cheap can you get it? $78 a day, a month for the first year. And it's just like, oh my God, he does it again. Graham strikes again.
Gosh. You win now, man. On Tesla stock, you got that. I regret selling.
We were constantly trading these jabs at each other.
it was a stupid thing for me to sell, because I realized too, like, I didn't even need the money. Like, for what? So I could put more cash in a savings account. Like, it didn't. Why? It made honestly no. I honestly just thought I was selling some hype. Like, I honestly believe, like, it's not worth this. It's too hypey. Sell half, keep the other half. But, you know, basically and you know what? The other one that I sold that I regret was Dave & Buster's. That was the stock that I had held on to and that was one of my only losing positions, was Dave & Buster's.
I know.
And after a while, I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to I put it in something else. So it wasn't just cash. I forget what I put it into, but I sold it. And then a minute after I sold it, it started going back up, and I sold it at the low of the day. Every other time besides when I sold it was higher than when I sold it. Yeah. But so basically my thing now is I'm not going to sell a stock.
Yeah.
Unless it's something where I have like a target in mind, where if it hits this price, I'm going to sell it. That's the point of it from the beginning. Yeah. If I don't need the money, I'm not going to sell.
I found one thing that has helped me, because everybody has those situations happen, and it's not something to feel bad about. It's totally normal. One thing that has helped me is have like a little notepad or something, and for every stock that you own, write down your strategy when you're not even thinking about selling it or buying more of it or whatever. Write down your strategy. You know, if this, then that. And then that way, when you get that feeling in the future, like, okay, man, you know, D&B keeps going down and down and down, because it did. It was like after I bought it too, it was like straight in the gutter, and everybody made me feel like crap for months on that one, many months. And you know, if you look at that notepad, it's like, well, I bought it because of X reason, and I'm not going to sell until this happens. Sometimes that helps, not always, but sometimes that helps.
Yeah. That's good, man. Listen, I'm getting tired. I think like 15 minutes. I wanted to get to 3 hours, but like 15 minutes ago, my mind was just starting to. I'm not as sharp now as I was.
Well, you did it, man. Congratulations. You are the record holder now of the Meet Kevin show, which is by no means inspired by the Graham Stephan show.
I want to know really quick if there's anybody who's been watching this entire time from the very beginning, who's been doing this with us for 3 hours. Let me know.
I can't even imagine. Let me look at the stats, okay? Let me look at the stats and we can fact check this. So the average view duration is 8 minutes and 23 seconds.
I mean, there's got to be somebody.
Oh,
yeah. We're getting a whole bunch of people in the comments here. Almost 3 hours. Oh, whoa. Jeremy commented. We got Jeremy commenting. Yeah, there we go.
I don't see it.
Almost 3 hours. That's an insane beast.
I want to see it, but I can't find it.
Yeah, we got a lot of comments. We got a lot of comments
here. What's up, Jeff Weibo? Shout out to Jeff Weibo, man. Freaking real estate up in Canada. I want to visit. Oh, there he is. There's my nemesis. What's up, man? Holy smokers. It's the financial education man in the house. Oh, you got to be flipping my flapjacks over here. Oh, well, I'm going to go get myself a Roni now. And by Roni, I mean like a Peroni.
There you go. All right. Yeah, no, I'm going to head to bed soon.
All right. Jeremy, even though you make fun of me, man. Even though you make fun of me, I still love you, Jeremy.
I went into this honestly thinking this was going to be like an hour and a half.
Yeah. I tried cutting you off, man. I tried cutting you off.
I was into it. Like, I just had a fun time.
I appreciate it, man. Well, thank you. Congratulations on the record. Have a good night.
Cool. See ya. Bye.
Bye.